Reveille.
Look at us now, tip to tip.
Jesus.
Shout out to Morning Kombat.
Do you want a margarita? Yes! My God!
To us, doing what we love. It's time to bang. Oh, yeah, better late than never. Sliding in on a Monday morning, it is what you came here to see, what you've been looking for. Morning Kombat, directly in your face hole, Monday, November 17th, 2025. And as you can see by his arrival in the moment, fresh off the Amtrak train, joining me, Brian Campbell, on today's journey as we recap UFC 322 in full plethora and come at you on all things Jake Paul, AJ. Have you seen this shit? A lot to talk about. BC Brian Campbell right here from them Hartford suburbs. Shortly, you'll be talking to DC's own Luke Thomas. I guess the engines claim him as well. You know, does he though? Is it reciprocal? We'll get into that as well in this show. How about UFC 322 on Saturday at MSG? A little bit of that magic was back in the air. You know what I mean? And I would know from experience, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. Him and her got it on. No, they didn't. All right. You can imagine what it'd be like if they did, though. Wow. Hey, here he is. L to the tizzle.
Fuck Amtrak.
Headphones, please, sir. You got a Bang energy drink here. Your hair has not been dyed at all. This is his real. Does do the drapes match the welcome to Morning Kombat.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Let's go. We started late.
Fuck Amtrak.
Still here to bang, though, which is why he got that can. And I'm fired up for today. I'm fired up for today.
Right here to do this and eat chowder.
Yeah. You saw Big Bang Jang in the crowd on Saturday. Yeah, so did I as well. By the way, that was my first cage-side UFC experience since Cannonier versus Adesanya in March 2020 on the J.J. Weili 1 card.
How was it?
Awesome.
Yeah?
I wasn't even mad at the grappling. It was awesome, all right? Dylan Dennis got cuffed on my laptop, similar to you.
I think I got it dead wrong here in real time. Wasn't that Izzy Yoel Romero? March 2020?
Who did I say?
You said Cannonier.
If it's 249.
Cannonier Izzy was International Fight Week. You guys were there for that.
I'm wrong. You're right. Romero, Izzy.
We were in Vegas for 276.
We were in Vegas for about 4 different shows. I just didn't go in the arena.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And for 276, we also did the pre-fight presser. We did a reaction for CBS Sports HQ, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But sitting cage, I honestly cannot remember the last time.
Thank you for dead wronging me, though, in real time. Quick shout out. You can follow us, like us, subscribe to us on YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching on the DraftKings Network. All you unfortunate divorced dads who are listening audio only as you get a hamburger helper for one. We got your back as well. Follow our YouTube channel.
Do you need that cord
to
charge?
I don't need it any longer.
May I have it, please?
All right. Let's get that part going. Hey, you want some of our merch here? Why don't you go to morningkombat.shop right now for our exclusives for the month of November. You're looking at them, the drippy red blood logo in hoodie or t-shirt. Hey, how about the Average Joe Romero art Combat Buddies?
Can I say something about him?
The Oscar Willis spinoff, I don't think is available yet. Yes, go ahead.
He literally, because I had talked about on this show.
I love that man, first of all.
I talked about on this show that for my daughter's Halloween costume, for the K-pop Demon Hunters costume, I was all over Etsy trying to find people who could make the weapon that one of the characters that she was playing. And it was, it worked out okay, but it was a little bit of a tough process. He 3D printed all the weapons that the girl, there's 3 girls in a group. He 3D printed all of their weapons.
Damn.
And all of them were nicer than the ones that I had ordered, like way better. Next time, dude, I'm telling you, Average Joe Art, if you're listening, and he probably is, 3D printing cosplay toys, that has to be big business.
Yeah.
That has to be big business.
I'm trying to think if we got a 3D printed dong and somehow put an MK logo on it. Would it only work if it was a bong?
Wouldn't you have to have 2 dongs?
The MK dong bong. Buy it now. Okay, there you go. All right, people are probably like, yo, I want my breakdowns. They're coming
We call
right
that
there.
the Donald Trump. Oh.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, a little early on that, but we'll hit that as well later in the show. So that was morningkombat.shop. Get your exclusives Mitch and Match colors.
Mitch and Match.
Also, you can get one of those autographed posters will have Oscar Willis's autograph on Luke's groin. I mean, to some people, that's a delicacy.
What flavor is Star Blast? I've had a chocolate Star Blast a couple times after having Taco Bell.
It's so gross. Like, it's really gross to say that out loud. Wow. Yeah.
I'd call this NyQuil. NyQuil flavored?
There it is. There it is. Quick hello. Hey, it's our show. We're running at any pace we want. Quick hello to the third member of our team, a producer, director, bong enthusiast, a hell of a podcaster himself over there at the Main Card Minute. And damn right, we like to bring up his Australian father because that horn motherfucker brought this guy to our lives. Okay? Long Island Luke. No see ya.
What up, boys? Guys, today's a big day. It's actually the 2-year anniversary of Main Card Minute, so...
Hey.
I'll give myself a little, yeah, there we go.
All right, let's say a little self-grandization there. That's.
I just want to say, I mean, it's hard for me to like stop for the moment. I feel like Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
Yes.
Where I just want the burger or the breakfast.
Yes.
Instead of the lunch.
You're gonna have to wait 30 minutes.
Amtrak, I just need you to be on time for once.
You're like, I'm from the military.
Once.
Those trains leave at the right time every time.
My God.
All right.
God.
Wow. All right. Also, thank you, Long Island Luke. You were at hey, real quick, Long Island Luke. You were at the damn events this week. I saw you at Media Day. I saw you.
Were you there on Fight Night?
Yes, sir.
They had you in the back with the peasants, though, right?
They had me in the back, but we did have access to on the Chase Bridge, like our own section. I went out for the Prates Edwards fight.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
it was sweet.
The garden was awesome. I mean,
the garden's always awesome. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been this close in a while. It
was nice.
It's still. I mean, we had
How did they have Mike Bond in front of you though?
I mean, dude, he's at every show, and I'll be next to him.
Okay, but you're with CBS.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Well, January is when this.
Oh, is that what you're gonna get promoted to first chair in January?
First chair, yeah, and I will do my part. Okay. By the way, a lot of people defending Dylan Dennis on Twitter. What's going on here? We'll get to that.
Defending Dylan Dennis?
Yeah. Like if anyone
really?
had
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, they're in my DMs. Or they're at my mentions.
What did you say?
I'm just like, yeah, in normal cases, I wouldn't defend a whole large group of people jumping one dude. That dude came to the event to get in a fight. Like, we're not fooling ourselves here. Like that's why he came and was sitting in other people's seats, and he got what he asked for. Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he
move on. All right.
Yeah, that's the part about him. He tries to provoke.
Yeah.
Congrats, I guess.
He scored. He won. Quickly here. Breaking news this morning as Jake Paul went to social media and simply wrote, "It's for real. Friday, December 19th on Netflix, it'll be a real fight at heavyweight. Jake Paul versus former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. I believe they're going to have a presser on November 21st with Ariel hosting to kind of kick this off. But Luke, we never really got into this rumor. So just a quick reaction. Is he like, sorry, Nwanda, you just signed your own death certificate? That was a great line from Dead Poet Society.
Yeah.
Are we looking at Dead Influencer Society here? Why is he doing this? What does this mean?
It honestly doesn't make sense to me because as everyone has rightly observed, I'm not adding much to the conversation, but just to sort of go over the high points, if Jake wins, this is, I mean, obviously it would be enormous for him, but it would be ruinous. I mean, truly ruinous for Anthony Joshua. By the way, he needs to get back after that Dubois terrible loss.
Sure.
But nevertheless, still probably has a Tyson Fury London homecoming in front of him. This would not only ruin his career more broadly, but would specifically in the short run, I mean, just immolate any of those plans. So he's like,
well, dude, no one's worried about those plans.
Okay, well, hold on.
Like,
well, I mean, dude,
those plans aren't in.
Okay, but this is my point. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. Then on the other side, it's like, all right, Jake, if you lose this, the likelihood that you would lose it is A, high, and B, the likelihood that this would be violent to the point of also being ruinous is also exceedingly high. So this is what I don't get, BC. Like, did he owe Netflix something?
And I wonder if it's a panic to keep the relationship going since the tank, since they had to cancel the tank thing, and it was
the only thing I can think of that makes sense for me is that he owes them something and is desperate to deliver on it. And the best that he could come up with, given the circumstances, is this outrageous acceptance of a basically impossible and dangerous feat.
I mean, part of what he's always done, Logan too, in the rare fights he's taken, is I always looked at it more from a daredevil thing. Like, we are influencers of the highest level across social media, YouTube, and everything. We are going to do crazy shit because we're also good athletes and we're just nuts.
Okay, but they're swimming with sharks in cages, and then they're swimming with sharks without cages.
I know. So I'm like, does Jake just know that inevitably, whether it's for a cruiserweight title or it's against, inevitably he's going to catch that fade, right? And he does work hard and all that stuff, but like, maybe this is him just cashing himself out and saying, I want to get that respect that I've never gotten for being crazy tough and taking on challenges. So you saw me do the Mike Tyson shit that you rightfully made fun of. Now I'm going to do the flip side of that, the hardest shit possible. And I just don't know if you'll have a future after that.
And I have to say also, the fact that there was such wide repudiation of the Tyson fight, as well as the market did whether they called it off because of this allegations in the lawsuit or because it performed poorly at the box office, you can decide.
Yeah.
But I think that the combination of the fact that it didn't, there was a muted response at the box office, and then this wide repudiation after the Tyson fight, I think it also made him, maybe this is an overcorrection, him trying to be like, okay, well, I can't do anything other than go all the way the other way, rather than some like halfway decent guy.
Yeah, I mean, it may have just been as easy as like there was a list of opponents. Something like a Tommy Fury fight wasn't going to make Netflix. I'm just speaking out. What if Netflix is like, yeah, do that on DAZN. That's not a Netflix fight,
right?
But the names to do a Netflix fight probably involved Ngannou, probably involved Joshua.
He didn't go back to Diaz.
People are saying Francis dropped the bag, but I believe the deep sourcing on that was that he was offered a somewhat low amount for a short turnaround fight. But yeah, this is crazy. We'll see. It seems real, but
I mean, Netflix announced it, so
there you go. December 19th. Check that out. All right, no more delay. Let's get into it. Sorry about the Amtrak delays. It may remove your DMs later in the show, but I've got a lot of shit. I tried hard. Okay, sometimes I use what I have, and
What did you eat for dinner in the city last night?
I've been eating bad for 2 days, and sometimes you just slide into that hole, and you're like, all right, I'll finish the hole. I'll complete the hole.
Yeah.
All right, I'm completing the hole.
What did you eat?
Oh, pizza, Mexican. I mean, we've had a great run. I've been on a heater. All right, there we go. There it is. But now it's over. Now it's time to get serious. Let's go to topic number one. You know why we're here. MSG Saturday, UFC 322. It did feel like a big one, a major pay-per-view for the UFC as the ESPN deal continues to come to a close. A bit of that old MSG magic was there, especially during that stretch with 4 straight viral knockouts and a crazy brawl in the crowd right in the middle of it. But in the end, we did see some historical developments in the co and main events, largely fueled by grappling, which has started a certain kind of argument. So Islam Makhachev becoming the 11th two-division champion in history with his unanimous decision, 50-45 across the board over Jack Della Maddalena, tying Anderson Silva's record streak of 16 consecutive wins. In that process, though, it was 5 rounds of when the opening was there, Islam took advantage of it. He took Jack down, systematically would look to set things up, wasn't looking to be reckless, wasn't looking to do anything but schmesh, and he did that in the end. You are getting comparisons, though, to this fight, to the way Khamzat Chimaev took the middleweight title from DDP. Do we have an issue here? Is this cyclical? Let's get right into it, Luke. Is the criticism fair, or is the bigger takeaway here that a legendary fighter in Makhachev, the same one who Dana White conceded at the post-fight press conference, probably entering into GOAT talk, 1 or 2 fights away here. Is it more about that, moving up a weight class, or are we going in the wrong direction entertainment-wise because here's back-to-back huge fights that they built up, and there was control that led to the victory?
Yeah, I mean, this is this is an interesting one to me because you kind of have to put your personal biases aside as much as you can and just kind of read the room and see where we are on this. I don't think anybody would deny that Islam just performed extraordinarily ably, perhaps to the point you raised, too ably.
I mean, I was in the second row. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't hate it either. I do recognize that there were parts of the bout that were not particularly fun.
Yes.
I do recognize that some of the comparisons to DDP Khamzat are fair, but I also think that those are mostly exaggerated. But I would say this. We're kind of at this moment in time where defense at the highest level is typically getting much better. You know,
as it should.
People like, why did Poatan fight a guy, for example, in Khalil Roundtree, who was outside the top 5? Well, I mean, the level of defense drops off precipitously the further, even within the top 10 or top 15. Yeah, the fact that you got a wide open fight in that regard, to me, is not a coincidence. But you get guys at the very top, their defense is very, very good. It is hard to do things to them. And I think you got something like this. You see this in elite wrestling. You see this in elite jiu-jitsu. It can be you don't see a lot of, you'll see tech falls in high school. So you'll see tech falls at the highest level, but it's pretty rare at the truly highest level. So there's
like a 5-round tech fall is what you're saying.
No, a tech fall would be quick.
Right, but this is like that over 5 rounds.
Well, yeah, just sort of slowly simmering.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So by the time you get there, it's just one giant tech fall without that immediate, mercy rule. We got to call it off. So I think that's a big part of it. I think the other part, too, though, is that, dude, Islam is
fucking great.
Golly, bro. He is so fucking good. I mean, we knew this already. People were, it was kind of funny, right? People were saying, wow, look at how good Volk did. Really gives you a new appreciation, which it absolutely does. But it also reminds me the fact that Volk tried to fight that fucking guy on less than 2 weeks' notice. That was never going to go any other way other than the way it did. Yes. Islam is not a guy you can fight on any amount of short notice. What a disastrous idea that ended up being for any number of reasons, and the obvious ones I don't need to spell out. BC, I thought this performance was certainly a little on the safe side. I think there's something to be said for that. But I think the bigger issue was JDM didn't have the ability to get any offense going, but had a lot of survivability and some defense. And that made the friction a little bit hard to parse for some, a little harder to understand. But I just want to make this point before I pitch it back to you, which is, it's not just that Islam is so goddamn well-rounded, which, of course, wow, he really is. Taking the back and then trapping the arm, beating up JDM's leg on the feet.
How about just the fact that he neutralizes offense on the feet? For as long as they were there, completely. JDM got nothing done on the feet.
He looked like the training camp was much tougher than the fight itself. But the point I want to make was this guy makes just almost no mistakes. It is so hard to catch him in error. And I want you to think about what that means. People make mistakes when they don't understand something with the full depth and complexity that's required. Look at the way in which he can dominate a bout, and there's really almost no interval where he's making serious or even otherwise perceptible mistakes.
Yeah.
It's unlike a championship reign, not going to say in MMA history, but he is absolutely among the half dozen kinds of guys and ladies that deserve to be remembered for being the very best that the sport has to offer.
Because when we hit these, I don't want to say lulls because it's not, but look, is it great for the sport if we go from the way Chimaev won to the way Islam won? Let's say in December, Merab does the same thing, right? Let's say he just controls for 5 rounds and lays on top. And that starts to happen for a year in a row. Is that bad for ratings? Is that bad for entertainment growth? Sure. I just don't think that's going to happen because these pockets of when one style just takes over the way it does, and we've been through wrestling cycles before in this sport, you know what I mean? American fueled or what have you. It just happens to largely be Dagestan or that whole area, extended area fueled. But it forces the rest of the game to elevate their game to deal with it. That's it. Calf kicks had a moment where they completely could control a fight until you raised your game to learn how to deal with it. This is going to force that next level of not just how often do we cry on the elite level when we don't see head movement, we don't see any dedication to defense. Well, even though I don't expect the rest of the sport to catch up to their wrestling dominance, the rest of the sport is going to have to catch up to find a way to hold it off. And that is an evolution of the sport built in that. It's cyclical. But it's hard to look at what this guy's doing historically and try to lead with the idea that, oh, yeah, but it's bad for the... No, this guy's awesome. This is incredible what he's able to pull off right here. We are watching a guy who came in with the Khabib rub and is actually taking it to another level, to the point of I led my post-fight takeaways column for CBS Sports with this topic, and I'm sure you've got something to say about it. They don't care about it. I asked Islam this week at Media Day, said the idea of him and Khabib or him and Umar and Usman ever having a conversation of who's better would never, ever happen because it's about building up their brother and being there for them in the same way they were for them. But I think it's fair to say that Islam has eclipsed from an accumulation, from an accomplishment standpoint, eclipsed Khabib's legacy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have enormous respect for the career of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Undefeated, as everyone well knows.
Retired at 32, 29-0.
Set a standard of excellence that will has stood the test of time, and I think will continue to do that. But it's not a legacy that is unbeatable. And despite the fact that Islam was finished early in his career, I want to be very clear about something. People are looking at the way in which Islam made this look easy, and I think that they're downgrading the win as a consequence, which I think is a huge mistake. Recall, 34 years of age, bumps up 15 pounds against a JDM who looked like $1 million against a very good Belal Muhammad, what appeared to me to be in phenomenal.
He looks scary, Jack, in the
oh
cage,
my God.
Dude.
He had striations in his shoulder.
JDM was caught. I mean, the pecs, everything was rocking.
He looked to be in tremendous physical condition. And not only did Islam quite literally beat him everywhere, I want to make a note of this, and I'm sure everyone saw it. There was some chatter about it after the fact. He demoralized him.
Yeah.
He took his spirit from him in this fight. When the odds were the toughest, up a weight class, to do that against a guy at 29 who was the deserving reigning champion, and to take away his fighting spirit, he looked like at the end. Now, to his credit, he fought off everything, including submissions, late into the fifth. I'm not saying that he quit. That's not what I'm saying.
No, he used all of that energy to fight it off.
But his body wanted him to.
Yes.
And he had to rally and steel his mind because Islam was taking everything from him. Dude, motherfucking Islam is so special. And I do believe that this kind of win is something that Khabib simply does not have.
Yeah, and I think he's got, and we've already said it for years, but Islam's got a more well-rounded game than Khabib. He's 20, what is it? He's moved to 28-1 with his victory. Now a two-division champion, 16 consecutive wins since that one fight 10 years ago against Adriano Martins that he walked into a hook, and now he calls it the big mistake that I made, and boy, has he made up for that. It did take him a while to get elite foes, but then once he did, the run that he's currently on right now, the opponents available to him moving forward in the sport's deepest division, he really does have a chance. Dana's not, talking out of his ass post-fight. He really does have a chance to approach here. Usman was in the same spot when he won 15 in a row and was number one pound for pound. He does have it. Look, we both say he's number one pound for pound now. You eclipse Merab and Ilya with that. Now they could flip-flop fight to fight until they fight each other, but this is the best in the show.
I think what Islam did to JDM and what it meant to beat him this way means more to me than Ilya and the way he beat Charles at this particular stage.
I agree with you.
Also, one more point getting back to Volk. Just think about that. Volk, when he bumped up to get a second belt, had to fight fucking Islam.
And now he wants to fight him at 170.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Ilya had to bump up and fight Charles. Charles is very good, but that's not that is in no way the same kind of task. Islam is your
well,
top
to further illustrate Islam's greatness, here are the streaks that he snapped to get to where he is right now. The win streak snapture, 11-fight win streak for Charles Oliveira at the very peak of his game. A Hall of Fame turn for Oliveira, a 22-fight run for the great Volkanovski. 18, people forget, Jack Della lost his first two pro fights, had been on an 18-fight win streak. Yes, didn't get to the title through the traditional path of beating killer contender after killer contender, but what he did against Belal showed who he really was, what he tried to do in defense here. I mean, let's talk about the Jack side of it. How much are you disappointed in Jack? Dana sounded a bit afterwards like he thought he would do more. We're saying that about Weili. We're saying that about the JDM, right?
I do have a question. There was so much grimacing on the floor. Did he, I'm not talking about the leg. Did he have some other kind of injury, or did he sustain any other kind of injury during the course of that bout? Didn't you see him like wincing in pain?
Yeah.
And again, part of that was probably frustration. I don't know. So I want to say we have to wait and hear, could there have been some kind of mitigating circumstance perhaps? I mean, on the one hand, like what worked? The submission defense certainly saved him. Remember the levels to fighting. There's survive, defend, attack. He never really got out of defend. He certainly was never, I guess the first opening seconds of the first round, he kind of came after him, but otherwise that was it. I would say I am a little disappointed in him. I thought he'd have a little bit more readiness for some of the things that Islam would be able to do. But I also feel like...
It feels like DDP. It really does. It really feels like the same feeling.
We should... Do you want to talk about the comparisons to that fight?
I mean, I know DDP was way more accomplished coming in than JDM was. but they both succumb to the same thing. The one hole in their game, which in the past they've been able to not make it a hole, when you find that key that can slice through anything and turn it, you're fucked. And he used every ounce of his recuperative and toughness to be able to hold off being finished.
I have a video coming out about this. I was trying to do it at 4 a.m. this morning and I couldn't finish it. But the reality is, again, if people didn't like it, I disagree, but I understand. People have different priorities.
Some people like Kiss. I mean, it's just
exactly.
ridiculous.
I mean, some people like bullshit, and that's life. But the reality is, this is the difference. The key thing you have to understand is, underneath Islam, first of all, Islam never really hit the kinds of positions and could camp out in the way that Khamzat did. Khamzat was able to immediately go to side control and just simply hold it for long stretches of the fight, not just rounds. You didn't get that with Jack. Jack was fighting Islam for every single inch of space, which is why Islam was, for the most part, only ever in half guard, because he couldn't really fully ever pass. JDM wouldn't let him. The point I'm trying to make is the positions were not neutral, BC, but they were closer to neutral than what you got with DDP, in part because Jack made it that way. And Jack was much, much squirmier underneath. He was trying buggy chokes. He was trying Granby reversals. He was trying, you name it. He was constantly fighting for frames. He was constantly trying to get to his side. The problem is, BC, he would get to his side. Islam would pin his own arm to him with his body weight, or begin to separate it and look for a Kimura or some other thing where now he has to go back down. So he was making him pick between a set of offensive dilemmas. However, to the extent that that fight stalled out, which is debatable, but to the extent that it did, it's because if you've never rolled before, if you allow someone to do the beginning stage of, let's say, going bottom to top, and you don't address it, the bottom falls out very quickly. So you have to stay on top of it, break a grip, place your weight somewhere, whatever it ends up being. Otherwise, it just goes completely haywire very quickly.
And the bottom drops out.
So the point I'm trying to make is Islam having to cover in that way, it might feel a little DDP Khamzat-ish, but I think there's a much better... That, to me, if a guy underneath is very squirmy and hard to hold, I can appreciate what it means for a fight to not necessarily be exciting to order to maintain top position.
Yeah.
That's a little different than DDP getting absolutely thrashed and having no answers.
And the missing link in this analysis of how Islam was able to do that is moving up in weight. And when he says pre-fight, I feel like I was only fighting at 70 to 80% of myself at 155 because of the hard weight cut. I think he kind of proved it because, Luke, there'd been a working theory that you can wrestle 3 rounds at the highest level in the UFC, but that's it. Remember when Khabib was throwing out, Quinto around at UFC 223, but then the championship rounds had to strike more. We've seen it so many times. Sean Brady told me this week when I asked him, I was like, can you go 3 rounds? He never shot against Morales. We'll get into that. But I was like, if you wanted to ragdoll for 3 rounds, can you do that in this type of fight? Yes. For 5 rounds, Islam did this. And he talked afterwards about, this is what happens when I'm not sacrificing myself. That's scary. That's scary. It's going to force everyone to change their game against him.
Islam is arguably, he's the only mitigating factor here is age. But based on the way he looks, he might be better at 70 than 55, and that's kind of insane to think about.
It's a killer list of opponents we'll get to very shortly. Here first is Coach Javier Mendez breaking down what happened to JDM because of Izzy's greatness, or Islam's greatness.
I wasn't 100% sure on Jack's speed, but when I saw it right away with the first jab, or the first punch Jack threw, I said, damn, he doesn't have the speed to keep with us. So I kept yelling distance, Matador style. Islam knows Matador style. I taught him that many, many years ago against Avi Ramos. So he knows that style really well. The only error we made is on the clinch, because on the clinch, he got hit really quick. He had to deliver the knee off real quick. So after that, we said, no more knees. I said, no more knees. We all said, no more knees.
No more knees on that shit. Here's Ian Gary, though, coming down on JDM's performance.
This is where the fight starts. Can he stay down or can he get back up? I did not think this was going to be as easy as it is. Now it's just a question of, is Jack going to break? 3 rounds of domination by Islam so far. Jack doesn't look like he knows how to fight. This is a great night for me. Islam's going to win. I want that fight. Jack loses. Leon gets sparked. The only way this gets better is if Jack's nose goes the other side of his face. Look at the face of that man. He's the champion right now. Look at that. Broken. He clearly doesn't want to fight, coach. Throw the towel and look at him. He's about to cry. Grab his leg, take him down, and that's the fight guaranteed, Islam. Hey, done. Game over. See you later. I'm going home. Take care. Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. That's what's next. And me and Islam.
All right, let's talk about the future. This was a huge showcase night for the welterweight division. I love the matchmaking across all 3 fights on there, and we'll get to the other 2. But this elevated the division, made you want to see everyone against Islam moving forward. That voice of Ian Gary matters because he's got former champ Bilal Muhammad next Saturday in Qatar in the co-main event that could decide the next title contender. You've got Carlos Prates and you've got Michael Morales, who had breakthrough stoppages on this card. You've also got Kamaru Usman lingering, and the idea that Islam wants this matchup to add such a legendary name to his resume. You've got Usman, who's coming off of a very good win against a contender in Joaquin Buckley, but had a stretch before that in which he's taking high-level losses and not really fighting at welterweight, yet he's ranked in the top 5. I don't want to ask you first who should be or who will be next. Who is the one welterweight right now? And I think you can throw Topuria in this discussion if you want to make it a larger one. Who has the best chance at beating that version of Islam?
To be honest, I don't think any of them have a very good chance.
Including Shavkat.
Including Shavkat. I mean, Shavkat, I've been very high on, but he's been gone. He missed the entire year.
I do think he tweeted. Do we have a quick look at what he tweeted
we have a
regarding
tweet?
this?
What do we got there? Yeah, here we go. Congratulations to Islam. Excellent performance, but the real challenge at 170 is me.
Who is the real challenge at 170 for Makhachev?
I don't really think there is one. I can't believe I'm saying that so quickly, but to do that to Jack the way he did, I mean, Bilal couldn't even do a fraction of that. And Islam made it look effortless. I don't think there's anyone in that division. Now, you might say Kamaru can wrestle and obviously can strike a little bit, did well to at least hang on and then push back against Hamzat. Fair enough. That might be one of the more competitive bouts you could get. I do think the Rakhmonov bout is potentially one of the more competitive bouts you could get.
Would you be upset at Usman? Would you be upset at the? Some people are saying that
I don't think
he's already ducking as new champion of the deepest division. Yeah. He's ducking if he wants Usman.
Okay, but yes.
I mean, it's a huge payday for Ali. We know that.
Yeah, Ali reps both guys. It'd be a good payday for him, I'm sure. But the reality is, as Oscar was telling us last week, it's also the case that the UFC really wants Usman to be in that role. Yes. So I tend to think that might be a foregone conclusion. I'll leave open the possibility, BC, the possibility that if Gary goes in there and absolutely just dunks on Bilal, which I don't expect, but let's say that he does, maybe he could leapfrog. But to me, the toughest challenges look like something around the neighborhood of Usman, Rakhmonov, and Gary, and I'd put Topuria at 70 at the very, very end of that list.
Really?
I can't believe, dude, how could you watch that fight and think Topuria's chances got better
because of size and wrestling?
At 55, when Islam is drained, a little bit of a different ballgame.
Okay, let's say it right now. Islam is not cutting to 155 again, nor should he ever. Any talk about the Topuria fight has to be about the 3-division championship thing at
70.
welterweight.
It's pointless at 70.
I don't know if it's pointless.
A former 45er is going to beat that fucking guy at 70?
This dude doesn't act like a former 45er, okay? He's acting like he's
still a 45er,
the escalation of Conor McGregor in a lot of ways. I get what you're saying here. Here's Topuria after the fight, taking issue with GDM and putting his name into the mix. It's a tweet. It says, Jack and Ilya twiped. Jack needs an entire camp dedicated just to wrestling. What a disappointment of a champion. You should go to Georgia to learn something. He's not talking about big chicken. Islam, you need something you can't train. Emotion. You're the most boring thing in this game. Every day I'm more certain I put you to sleep. We have the reaction here from Islam Makhachev to the idea of facing Ilya Topuria next.
Topuria, I don't know if you saw his tweet. He said you're like the most boring fighter in the UFC or something like that. I know you said to ask us or ask you about him after the fight at Media Day. Can you give us your full thoughts on a fight with him now?
No injury, nothing. I don't feel any pains. I'm ready. Who is going to be next? Let's do this. And I will make it easy.
I do love that attitude of like whoever they want. And normally I don't love that because I want guys to fight for their position. But this is the best fighter in the sport, angling toward the idea of entering the GOAT conversation, being like, whoever, bring that shit to me. Mm-hmm. He said he wanted the White House afterwards. What percentage is the UFC not looking from a meritocracy standpoint, not looking from which division is logjam, just looking from, we have this White House card, we can go a number of ways. What if we went in at 1 versus 2 pound for pound and actually did this thing, but at 170 for the 3-division element, so you make this one of the biggest fights of all time? What percentage do you believe the UFC pulls this trigger?
50-50. 50-50.
It's not the right fight looking at the division.
Having Islam on that card seems like a foregone conclusion based on timing and all the other promotional.
Dana agreed this week that you don't need an American. We're not doing USA versus the world.
Dana said explicitly it's not USA versus the world. It's just let's build the best card that we can. Having Islam seems like that's a must, right? Okay, so that's there. I think you could get away with them doing Islam versus Kamaru or even Islam again. Let's say it's Ian Gary or something like that. I think you could get away with it. But I think that they're probably going to put in their back pocket the Topuria one. But, dude, the matchmakers have to be looking at that and saying Topuria's got not a great shot. Not a great shot after this. Dude, I can't believe it's like Topuria's like main booster. I have to convince you guys. At 55, to me, I feel very differently about it. But at 70?
Well, he does have knockout power, but maybe that wrestling size difference is more than I'm realizing at 170.
Islam barely gets hit. His entries are fucking lightning.
What
he can
speed
wrestle for
advantage
25
would
minutes.
have on the hand speed?
He'll have an advantage for sure. He'll have an advantage. But I mean, dude, Islam is going to be shooting low and fast.
So you're saying Islam overperformed to the level that he actually made this fight not viable?
I would have,
unless you did that 155, which again he has no reason to cut down. He
dude,
built
if
his
you
body
had
up.
told me on Friday Jack's going to do nothing.
Yeah.
Jack's going to do nothing.
We thought Islam would fight his way out of trouble. In this
yeah,
fight.
yeah, exactly. That Jack would be a tough challenge. You'd be curious to see exactly how Islam navigated it. Islam almost looked like he had fucking pity on the guy.
I want Shavkat now.
Shavkat's a big one. That's kind of like the wild card.
Gary would be fun. There's certain elements to that, but
dude, Hamzat going back to 70. Fuck Hamzat going to 205. Man, I don't know if he can even make 70 this point.
I was talking
Hamzat Islam. That's a sick fight.
Brandon Wise sat next to me from CBS Sports, my editor, and we were talking like that might actually be the fight. If you threw rankings, divisions, championships out of the way, Islam versus Chimaev is the fight. That's the fight right now.
Because now you know verifiably, without a shadow of a doubt, he's got another wrestler on his hands.
Damn.
Because I know what everyone's going to say. They're going to say Ilya started as a wrestler and a grappler, which is true. But I don't think that anyone would say, at 70, that's going to matter as much as it would for Hamzat to go back down. And Hamzat's a better pure wrestler than Topuria anyway.
Islam's he already was, but I mean, he's a pay-per-view brand. He is a star. And he got there with the help of the bump, of course, of being Khabib's guy, but he's really escalated that in every possible category. I really feel like that building was filled with definitely Weili fans, but that was filled with Islam fans.
He got the loudest pop?
I mean, Poirier and GSP got pretty big pops from the crowd there. Yeah. That brawl got a big pop.
Also, another guy. Look at what fucking Poirier did to Islam. He fucked up his face. Remember, he had him bleeding. He slashed his face open in that 5th round, survived all the way before that, was putting some decent shots on him. Consider if Dustin Poirier did much better against Islam than JDM ever did. It's hard to believe, but true.
This is great. All right, we have one more bit on this topic to talk about, and it's the Craig Jones side. We're kind of giving Craig Jones superpowers being in JDM's corner, that it was going to lead to an ability for Jack Della Maddalena to get up and get up often. He has been in the corner before when Volk took on Islam. Mm-hmm. He's been the celebrity hire for a few different guys here. But his magic seems to have run out, and this topic came up when Makhachev talked after the fight, and, when we scanned his words, it was enough. It was spicy enough to bring in our friends from Cuervo. Yes, for shots fired. Let's go. Shots fired, brought to you by Cuervo. Now is a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila. Here's the champ.
What did you say to Craig Jones after?
I told him, your jiu-jitsu not working. You have to come to Dagestan for 2-3 years.
What did he say?
He started laughing. He told Khabib, I will come Dagestan.
This is
2-3 years fix everything. Luke.
Yeah.
Is the magic of our friend Craig Jones gone, or is it still situational based on the?
I mean, you can't have it both ways, right? You can't say that Volk performed so well against Islam in their first contest, and then say, well, JDM performed poorly, and so therefore Craig's stuff doesn't work. Craig's stuff worked real well the first time for
Volk.
For Volk, there was a ton of stuff that Volk took from him, very specific Craig Jones things. And it worked quite well. So, I mean, we really need to say, like, what exactly is Craig's influence? And, can he get these guys over the hump? No. Well, look what the fucking guy they're up against.
I mean, what is his influence on the sex trade?
It's like, probably significant. Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is, dude, like, look at who he's fucking fighting. He's fighting Islam Makhachev, the very best guy in the world. Yes, Craig could train me all my life. I'm still not fucking beating that guy. And I recognize that pro fighters are much better, but I'm saying there's a limit to how much one guy can do for another one when, yes, could a different area of focus, BC, have maybe made this a little bit closer? BC, yes, of course the answer is yes, but not enough to fucking win. Look at how far apart JDM is from Islam. There was a vast ocean of difference. Craig, no trainer in the fucking sport is going to make up that difference. It doesn't exist. It's not possible. So the point I'm trying to make is, how can you look at what Craig's influence has been on broader jiu-jitsu, sport jiu-jitsu, and in particular guys like Volk, and the demonstrable difference that it had, and then say, well, JDM couldn't do shit with it, so therefore it's bad. I recognize from a public perception standpoint that the Craig stock is probably going to deflate a little bit after this. I get that. I see it. And maybe there's something to be said for that. But to me, it's like the argument is he was doing a little bit too much jiu-jitsu to counter Islam and not enough wrestling. And I think there's something to that. But that also, dude, for example, show me, Long Island Luke, show me how JDM was defending strikes.
Show me
it physically what it looked like. And I can see you. Right.
Great content.
Constantly here. Dude, against a guy who's got a low lightning level change, this is kryptonite. So could he have done better related to that? Certainly. There is something to be said for that. But the fact that he survived against Islam, honestly, is a big feather in the cap to Craig Jones.
I don't disagree with
Dude,
that.
I'm telling you, if you didn't know exactly where to put your body from the side to the back, how to hand fight, where your shoulders need to be, Islam is fucking putting you out, period. So the fact that Jack hung on as long, to me, is very impressive. Obviously, I'm a Craig booster. Biases on the table. I think he could have wrestled better. Maybe a different coach can get that out of him. Fair enough. But the idea that Craig's ideas are bad, no. They're very, very good, and they're ahead of their time as far as I'm concerned.
Of all the boosters, your favorite is Craig. Is that what you're saying?
Probably, yeah. I like Craig a lot.
All the vaccines in your life. Long Island Luke, quickly over to you. Luke used the word ocean, which I know is one of your favorite Pearl Jam songs, but I would like to quickly get your take on what should be next for the great Islam Makhachev. How disappointed would you be in Usman, and does he even have a chance?
So before this fight, I was very disappointed in Usman. I heard a few people saying that, and I was like, come on, man, we're really going to do that with how hot welterweight is right now? That being said, I feel like it's got to be either Usman or Shavkat at this point. Like, as far as who can even beat Islam, like, I don't see Michael Morales beating him. I don't see Carlos Prates beating him.
Oh, you're saying because Usman would beat the other guys, he deserved.
I don't know. I want to point out one thing
Islam
about JDM.
Controls him, right? Oh, go ahead, back. Let's talk Australian.
One thing about JDM is I was shitting on the guy all week. I said he had no chance in this fight, and that did kind of play out. But I will say I was super impressed with JDM in this fight. Maybe other people weren't. I was actually like, oh, shit, look at him on the ground. Like, he's defending all these submission attempts. I actually think the Craig Jones factor was huge in this.
I totally agree.
I think he probably gets finished in the first 3 rounds if Craig is not.
Yeah.
I mean, one more time. He finished Poirier, a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He finished Charles Oliveira, a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I keep saying Craig. I apologize. JDM hung on there, and I'm telling you, if you against a guy as skillful as Islam, that is very, very difficult to do. But the notion, could a different coach get a better wrestling, response out of him? I'm open to the idea, absolutely, for sure. The idea that Craig's ideas don't work is complete horseshit from people who can't even tell you what Craig's ideas even fucking are. I can. That's why I know they work.
Yeah.
Fuck you. How about that?
Quote the Raven, never more, please. Hey, let's talk about timing and times. Great time to be JDM over the weekend, or maybe Islam, actually. Sorry about that. But when I'm talking about time, I'm talking about now, because now is a good time as ever to remember where tequila's story truly began. Get ready here in 1795. Cuervo invented tequila, and since then, all Cuervo has done is stay true to its roots. Same family, same land, same passion. 230 years later, Cuervo's right here in every pour, in every margarita, in every celebration, in every MK pregame preview. So enjoy the tequila that started it all, Cuervo. The tequila that invented tequila. ProximoCuervo.com. Please drink responsibly. Luke, we are fresh off of our UFC 322 pregame preview with Oscar Willis of Oscar Wilde Mac Life fame.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed reviews from people. But overall, that was a strong performance, man. Mixed because he can, he's aggressive. He's very aggressive in nature. You know what I mean?
People were mixed on Oscar Willis.
I think just on some of his content, but I thought, he brought the energy. He brought what
he certainly brought the energy. Someone told us the problem was he's actually more MK than we are.
So it makes us look lame.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, of course I'm willing to eat roaches and jack off at the bus stop. I'm like, we just joke about that. We don't actually want to do that.
Yeah, thank you very much. We do appreciate his contributions as well. Thank you so much. Follow his work there. Oscar Willis, follow yourself some Cuervo. All right, let's get back into it. Topic number 2 addresses the co-main event of UFC 322 on Saturday, the historic women's matchup on paper that brought in 2-time flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko, who did a lot of history in the end in her unanimous decision win over 2-time strawweight champion Zhang Weili. Most importantly, making Zhang Weili ultimately look like she didn't belong in there, which was wild considering this was a virtual betting pick'em most of the week. But Shevchenko equaling Amanda Nunes for most title wins in UFC history, becoming the sole owner of most title defenses on the women's side in UFC history, and continuing to just add to her already incredible legacy at age 37 that even the broadcast and Joe Rogan were starting to say, I wonder if there is an argument here for goatship for this woman. Luke, this was similar to the main event in which grappling was used. I really, though, liked Valentina's explanations afterwards of how hard of a fight this actually was, even though your eyes didn't see that because it was so hard to control someone as talented as Weili Zhang. As impressive as this victory was for Shevchenko's career, what can we really say that she has a claim to in the history of the sport right now?
I think that the overall body of work puts her somewhere in the neighborhood. You could say higher, but certainly no worse than top 3. I think of the best women to ever do it. The consistent excellence year over year, at least in terms of getting her hand raised.
And improving and evolving.
Oh, I don't think she's improving and evolving.
You don't think so?
No.
She brought her wrestling
I don't think so.
to such a high level where people had given Weili nothing but credit in recent years for evolving her wrestling.
It's certainly better
game.
than it was like relative to the Holly Holm fight, but I would even argue she was more dangerous back then just based on kind of the risks she was willing to take. I mean, I think there's a pretty decent criticism to make of this fight, but if you're asking about the good side of Valentina, the overall amount of wins, the amount of wins against quality names, the amount of wins from, obviously pound for pound people that she's gone up against. She did not get her hand raised against Amanda Nunes, but that was an extremely close fight. And then their first one was putting it on her when it was a 3-round contest and it came to an end. So to me, she has shown incredible durability, incredible resilience in the sense of 37 years old and still able to be on top of the game by reinventing her game a little bit. You talk about evolution. No, to me, she is simple.
She's evolved her defense to like she wasn't even getting touched. Outside of that huge overhand right that Weili landed early on where you're like, oh shit, we got to fight here. I don't feel like she got touched outside of regular jabs or the flow of the fight, I
just feel like, you know what? I said this. People were talking about this fight ahead of time being like, this is an epic clash of titans. And I kind of didn't buy it. Not that if you looked at Shevchenko's resume and then you look at Zhang Weili's resume and you're like, wow, these are incredible resumes. I mean, no one is a fraud here. Like, this is amazing. But something fell a little flat for me, which was I've seen Shevchenko at 35. She's as competitive there as, within a hair's breadth of beating Amanda Nunes. And certainly
submitted Juliana Pena, beat Holly Holm.
Dude, she's a fucking beast at 35. So then she goes to 25 where she can really do her thing. They're having someone come up from 115. So to me, it's like you got someone who's probably a little closer to a natural bantamweight going up against a very good but now slightly over the hill strawweight. This is not it's an epic clash between two big names, but there's a little lack of suspense for me. It just didn't mean the same thing.
I'm not going to try to be like it was entertaining.
I'm not even making a point about the entertaining. I'm simply saying I'm not calling it a squash match, but JDM not getting shit done against Islam when he's coming up 15 pounds and JDM is the champ and the younger guy.
I get that.
That to me feels different than her waiting on someone to come up who's 36 years of age when she was beating up the ladies a division up from this one.
You're saying it's similar to when Joanna came up to 125 to challenge Valentina, and none of us gave her a chance, and it played out that way because
it's kind of like that.
We're like, she doesn't have power or submission game. She's going to just run into that. But I think Weili was looked at as different because not only does she have a strong wrestling game, she is
that was
a
overstated,
threat.
which I said on Friday's MK. I said on Friday's MK that was overstated.
You know, and Oscar thought that Weili would run through her, and
Thursdays,
there were questions about that, especially seeing Weili look so fit and she had time off and really had rebuilt her body like Islam did. But hearing, and we don't have the sound right here, but hearing Valentina at the post-fight press conference literally say, I prepared for war, 5 rounds of war. We thought this would be the toughest fight of our entire career. We trained at a level I never even thought before in terms of just destroying ourselves every day physically. And then she said, people will say that this looked easy. She said every single second she's fighting off Weili's advancement. Every second Weili felt like she was right there on the verge of landing a big shot. And even when she would take her down, the amount of fighting just to control position, just to, look to set something up, that actually was one of the most skilled, tough opponents she ever faced. She was that much better. And some of that comes with the size in this argument. I get that. She's also 37, dude.
Yeah, no.
And she completely neutralized this great fighter. Granted, this great fighter got beat twice in a row, legit by Rose, including a head kick knockout. And we can never forget that. But she was 10-0 against everybody else and dominant. And it looked like, if you don't hear this sound and if you don't watch it with the eyes of a fighter, if you're just casually watching it, it looked like she didn't belong in there. Yeah. You got to give Shevchenko that. Come on, man.
I'm not saying she's some fraud. That's really not my point.
No, but you're discounting the quality of the win.
She's saying all of this, and it played out exactly as we thought it was going to play out. The people who thought, these are great fighters, but this is a somewhat predictable kind of thing, it played out exactly in that way. So for her to say that, I appreciate that she's working that hard, and I'm sure she is, but this, saying that, oh, this only happened because of my preparation. Again, I'm saying I'm sure she trained hard, but this followed the exact path that we had assumed it would because of what Shevchenko represents. She's physical for the weight class. She has good wrestling. She doesn't make a lot of mistakes and dominant, but smothering top control that's somewhat risk averse. Yeah, no shit it played out the way that it played. It's not the same thing as Islam beating JDM. It's not even fucking close.
It's not because of the weight moves that you're saying, but what Valentina had lacked up to this point was sort of that one signature victory against a fellow Hall of Famer where we felt the terms were even. Maybe she didn't get that in that Joanna fight because of that size difference. I don't know. I don't equate it all to size. I give her a lot of props for what she pulled off in there. Is there a path for her, though, to goat ship? And would that path have to include a bantamweight championship?
She doesn't have to go to bantamweight, but it's clearly the most interesting part of what's left.
She turned pro before Chris Cyborg. Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
Look where she is. And I know Chris is
Cyborg is still doing her thing too.
With the PFL championship, she's not doing nothing, but that's insane.
I just feel like I don't know what Shevchenko wants or what the UFC will ask of her. But if you just look up and down the various 125 and 135 rosters, the cupboard is a little bit bare more broadly. But the more interesting challenges to me, like her versus Kayla, now that's a challenge.
And when you say more broadly, it's because we're talking about the women's divisions, ultimately, right?
You lean on that. Stupid.
You lean on that a lot. You go there.
You lean on that joke a lot. You go there a lot.
All right.
I'm just trying to say, just ask yourself, which of these fights are toughest for her? And it's clearly something in order of Harrison, not,
Okay, but because Harrison's a monster at 35 and we openly question like how much longer she can make that, which is why I kind of want them to give her a chance at like a women's heavyweight where you have 2 divisions in one. Is it realistic for her to beat somebody that physical? Or are you saying, well, she used her physicality to beat Weili and kind of just controlled her? Well, who's to say Harrison shouldn't do the
precisely
same
why
thing?
It's interesting. Her lording her physicality over a smaller opponent is not especially. I know there's going to be people who probably hate this opinion, but her lording that over a smaller opponent is not that interesting to me. Her being thwarted against an opponent who can match that physicality, now that's a little bit of a different ballgame. That, to me, is interesting.
I mean, I'm never going to argue on the interesting / entertainment side of it, but on the just pure skill domination side, I certainly give her the flowers. We do have Shevchenko talking about exactly that, the idea of facing Kayla Harrison next, or could it be Natalia Silva? Could it be another contender? Here's Val.
Told me to ask you after the fight when we spoke before about Kayla Harrison saying she would like to fight you at 135 at the White House if you won this. What do you think about that now?
I think it's one of the possibilities, yes, and I consider that. It's kind of like, for now, I want to take care of injuries, what I have. That's kind of like migrating from training camp to training camp with me. But after like maybe a week or something like that, we will have our conversation with my team, with my coach Pavel, and decide what is next, because I feel there is good challengers in flyweight as well. Erin, Natalia, and bantamweight, now we have Amanda or Kyla. And I would say probably fans would love to see Amanda trilogy because it was unfinished business, but in the same time, it's unclear yet, is she return or not return? Is she fighting or not fighting? And also it's unknown in what shape she's gonna return, like half Amanda or maybe full Amanda, who knows? Yeah, but Kyla, it's also one of the possibility, and it's gonna be another like super challenge.
Shout out to Kyla, by the way. And I did want to mention, of course, Erin Blanchfield submitting Tracy Cortez, which put her in that conversation as well. Luke, this is interesting. But would it be better, if we're trying to like pro wrestling script this? Hey, what if Amanda and Kayla would have their super fight? You know, their former teammates that broke apart because of the rising greatness of Kayla. Let's say Amanda won that, and that'd be one of the biggest wins, you know, in her entire career. Isn't it better to get Val trying to become a 2-division champion against Amanda to try to avenge the 2 losses of her greatest rival, for the idea of an actual handoff of goatship in the same manner that Nunes knocking out Cyborg was a handoff of that greatness?
Okay, but the only issue is, do you remember the second Nunes and Shevchenko fight?
Of course.
Sucked ass.
Okay, but wasn't it better than
Woodley
Wonderboy 2? It was better than Woodley Wonderboy 2.
Okay, fair enough. We haven't talked about this yet. If there's anyone getting blowback on the internet for being boring, Islam is getting some of it.
Okay.
Shevchenko's getting the most of it. People seem tired of her. Long Island Luke, have you detected among at least the online fan base, there's a little bit of Valentina fatigue?
I got to be honest, I didn't see anything about this, but BC texted me a
Are you
clip
guys
today
high?
that was very anti-Shevchenko.
Okay, I texted a clip
like,
today of that dude who was like...
That's a drop in the bucket from what I've seen.
Where the guy was basically like, you can't get into the UFC with wrestling a boring style. You have to be exciting on the Dana White Contender Series, but yet we were rewarded at the title level.
Yeah, well, it's also because the Contender Series rules are stupid. I mean, let's be honest about that. But dude, I see her taking a bunch of L's online. People just kind of like fed up with the smother, in their minds, the smother fest that comes with her fight. This is what I'm trying to say. Somebody who can make a meaningful resistance of that, whichever direction you want to go, is fine. The Nunes one is interesting for all the reasons you articulated, except that the last fight that they had was butt cheeks.
If someone had your opinion, but they looked like they were a piece of shit, you would say they hate women. That's why they believe that.
No, I would take a broader view. Speaking of the word again,
hey,
I would take a broader view.
Let me guess,
I would
you
take
studied abroad and then you married her.
I would take a broader view of their worldview more broadly and other opinions.
Yes.
But having, I think, a diminished opinion relative to 2016 of the state of women's MMA is not only warranted, but frankly rational.
Okay, I'm here for Val trying to make it a conversation, a cemented thing in her favor, because she's in that area where she still got it, and there are huge fights to our point at 135 here.
You liked the Shevchenko fight with Zhang?
Did I like it? Yeah, I was actually like surprisingly entertained the entire night with every fight. That I was shocked to hear people.
You can't ask this guy anything.
I wish I hear people were complaining about the co-main and main. Co-main is a little more understandable. The main, I do not get.
I'm with you. I didn't hate the main at all. I understand there's complaints out there. I get it. Co-main, I can understand.
Well, we kind of felt like it could be a tactical, not overly exciting fight, even at the best situation, where if Weili was just sort of like equaling her on the striking. But I have to say, he was there in different forms. I was there in the second row. Maybe it's because it came after a 4-fight stretch with the knockouts, the brawl in the crowd, where that UFC 205, UFC 217 magic was back in the Garden. It was like anything can happen.
Well, the first 3 fights on the main card were, car
counting
crashes.
Bo Nickel. That's 4 straight viral car crashes, KOs with a Dylan Dennis car crash in between.
Yeah.
It was like, holy shit, are we pointing toward potential like best card of this era type of feeling? I wasn't though let down because we kind of knew this could happen. There's some people are saying, if you kind of know coming in, could this just open the pay-per-view main card, or is that super disrespectful?
That's super disrespectful.
All right. Dana didn't love the performance from Zhang Weili. A lot of us were disappointed, thought she would do better. Here's the boss.
And then speaking of GOAT talk again, Valentina Shevchenko, another crazy dominant performance. I saw you did a podcast where you said that fight would never be boring, and then it turned out that Valentina just kind of smoked her. Curious your thoughts on that fight as well.
Yeah, I thought that, Weili's a little pit bull. I thought she would she would be much stronger and do better in that fight than she did. One of my buddies texted me after the fight and said, "This is why we have weight classes."
I mean, Zhang's a very strong woman, and Valentina just kind of threw her around like no business. Would you be interested in Valentina maybe moving back to 135 to try and test herself, or are you okay with her making those calls?
I don't know. I'm not even thinking about that kind of shit.
Wow, he called it shit. He's like, yeah, I don't really care about that at all. But I obviously, he doesn't actually mean that. But interesting. Should Weili go to 115 and really make Mackenzie Dern unhappy? Or should, I mean, when Valentina was asked, she said, oh no, she absolutely should stay in this weight class. She belongs here. She's going to be a handful for every single one of the other girls.
I can believe that she can be, let me be clear. I believe that Zhang Weili can absolutely be competitive at 125 pounds.
And should they ask Val to give up the belt and move up?
I think if she's going to go back to 35 and I'm Zhang, I stick around. But the issue is,
Valentina fights a lot. I know she said she needed a little bit of time off, but like, do you get the Silva? Do you go one more and do the Silva fight? I mean, it's kind of the same question we're saying about Pereira.
It's
do
tough.
You fight Olberg, or do you move on and let Olberg fight for the vacant title?
It's tough. I mean, at 36-2, she has some questions to ask about.
36 for Weili.
Weili, to what extent she is going to be, how much longer she wants to cut the most amount of weight.
She wouldn't answer the question despite Joe's. To give him credit, Joe Rogan was going back to the well. Like, no, I'm trying to find out if you're going to be a.
I actually respect him for that. He didn't let it go because most people would just let it go. I'm glad he didn't.
Well, dude, I have to say, I know it's a cultural difference, but she was too happy after a loss like that. She walked by the press table and was like, yeah, like celebrating like she had won. And I know what she's celebrating. The idea that she put her best effort into it and that's her reputation. She's going to come back and do it again, whoever she fights. But I also wanted to also see like some disappointment. Like you tried hard and really came up empty in this fight and did not look like an all-time great. And that's because of Shevchenko being that great, dude. All right.
There's a lot to be said for that.
No one cared about this fight but me, apparently. All right, let's move it on here to topic number 3, and it's the rest of the UFC 322 main card, which is inevitably a welterweight conversation here after breakthrough knockouts and near 50-50 fight offerings from one Carlos Prates, from one Michael Morales. Let's start off on the 19-0 Morales, who scored his third straight explosive stoppage win late in the first round, or was it the second round against Sean Brady? First round stoppage against Sean Brady, who was number 2 coming in. Luke, the size difference looked huge in there. It was only supposed to be 3 inches in height, 6 inches in reach, which is not nothing, but it looked like something in there. We didn't get a Brady shot in that first round ultimately, but Morales did something that I didn't see this ending coming in, and holy shit, he delivered. He was poised, he was powerful, he called for a title shot afterwards. Is he firmly in the conversation here for a shot at that, or are we instead looking at potentially bringing him and Prates and just banging it out, Luke, to figure it out?
Yeah, I think to me he needs one more. I've seen a lot of desire to push Morales into a title shot, which, to be clear, BC, I mean, he's on his fucking way. He just dusted the number 2 guy in the world, who I have great, we have great respect for Sean Brady. And I want to say one more time, Brady took a huge risk here. We identified it.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone did when we did Thursday's show. And this was either going to go great for him or blow up in his face. And it blew up in his face. And that's the game he played. What I'll say is, BC, one thing, first of all, they looked like they were in different weight classes. I mean, they did not even look like they were the same. Second of all, I feel like Michael Morales is like the second coming of Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Whoa.
He's the power. Remember, Rumble, people forget about this. Rumble was a very good wrestler as well.
Yes. And he was a welterweight, so I get what you're saying.
At least at first, anyway.
Yeah.
He was a welterweight. And so to me, like, this guy really reminds me of that, but he's got a little bit, his own flair, and he's got judo to mix in with it. He had a great idea, low stance. People are asking, why didn't Brady shoot? Because he'd have to shoot from a million miles away based on how they were lined up. It just wasn't going to work. And so every time he tried to close the distance, he got chewed to fucking pieces for it.
And he took some big shots before the finish.
And people forget. Remember, he almost got finished earlier in the round and kind of hung on. I was like, all right, maybe he's going to settle.
But there was no even desperation at a double leg attempt to sort of just buy time.
Dude, you have to. What is the ideal distance to shoot a double leg?
When I run the pipe, Luke. All right,
what is the ideal? It's a very basic question. What is the ideal distance?
Yeah, I'd say 4.25 feet. Luke.
No, the ideal distance is I should be able to touch you.
Okay.
This is the distance. Okay. You can do it from further, especially if you're going to go with a bent over posture and then run them into the fence. You can go further away. But ideal is the same distance from which you would punch them. So look at how fucking far away he was. That's not just low percentage, that's no percentage. But either way, it didn't matter, dude. Morales was probably going to win that one.
I like Sean's jab. I like that he was trying to box in and out.
He was trying.
He did look like, prime Frankie Edgar in that regard.
But I want to make the point about this clearly. At 25, could you put Morales in front of Islam? And would it be fun and interesting, at least for a little while? Probably so. Yeah. Probably so. But I feel like he needs a little bit more seasoning and a little bit more time to really round the corner. You give him Prates, BC. How is that not fucking incredible? Or you feed him to Rakhmonov, and let's see.
Oh, my God.
Rakhmonov.
Or the winner of Ian Gary versus Bilal. What a time, dude. What a time.
And every time you think we're done with welterweight, like, there's, Buckley's coming up, but then Buckley fades. Here comes Morales. There's just all these new entrants into this division. But for me personally, I think the one that makes the most sense, I would love to see Prates fight Michael Morales. Winner of that can get a title shot.
Well, Prates earned this step forward in the discussion by what he did to former champion Leon Edwards in a fight that did seem competitive early, even though we're seeing that meme going around of
Leon
Edwards
won the first round.
And with Leon backpacking him, hitting him in the face, and Prates is almost like, can we just get this part over with and then get back to where we light up some darts and throw some bombs? Well, we got back to that point, and it was an absolutely vicious finish with a right cross in which didn't it look like Leon almost blinded himself accidentally to the punch by putting his hand up, Luke, and then the punch came right underneath and hit the spot, and then he hits his head on the back of the canvas going down. Yes, he lost to Ian Gary. He did rally and save face. Then he killed Jeff Neal. Now he killed Leon Edwards. I want Prates Morales more than I think I want most things in this division right now.
Long Island.
I do.
Best matchup for Morales.
I mean, it's got to be the Prates fight. I don't think, I said this 10 minutes ago, I don't think either guy really has a chance against Islam right now, so let's just put them together and get a fun match.
People want to rush Morales. I'm high on him, but you got to be real careful with this stage right now, which, by the way, even if you lost, he'd be back in a title shot within probably a year or two, right? So it's not the end of the world, but just to give him the maximum chance to really get there, it's a little too soon.
But you were thoroughly impressed on what Prates did against Edwards.
Because
he had to fight off some resistance there. I mean, Leon looked back.
Too. The issue for Prates, though, this is the problem with that win, is that first of all, it was tremendous, dude, and first got to finish Leon with strikes, and dude, it was so heavy, and the fact that he got lifted off of his feet and his head went.
It's insane.
It's insane. But the issue for me is that neither Jeff Neal nor Leon Edwards, Leon a little bit, is a true kind of duplicative test of what Islam would would offer. And of course, nobody can be Islam, but Brady, for example, would be kind of a close test.
Sure.
How would you handle something like that? So to me, I would need to see Prates go up against someone who can, yes, Leon could take him down, but was just making some errors on the feet. Someone who's a little bit more durable, not on a 2-fight losing streak, now a 3. Somebody who's on the rise, can be a real threat consistently with the wrestling. I want to see that.
You feel bad for Leon because I didn't think physically at 34 he was going to be washed. And I'm not saying even that he is, but it's getting closer here.
Why is he losing so much?
I thought it was a disconnect because we talked a lot about the last 2 fights, the title loss and then the submission loss to Brady, where it just felt more, instead of feeling like, oh, it was a bad matchup or he caught the wrong guy at the right time, all that stuff. It was also like you didn't see the fire in him to bounce back. And I wondered if there was a mental hiccup. The same hiccups that I saw at times on the rise up where I didn't believe in him until Headshot Dead and until that short little run after where he was a legitimate pound for pounder. He looked pretty damn good in this fight until suddenly you're focused on his bald spot and the fact that he's unconscious on the ground, Luke. And then you're like, yeah, these are 3 losses and 2 of them devastating. I don't know if you can put the pieces back together physically and mentally after this type of loss. I don't, that doesn't mean he should retire. That doesn't mean he's not going to win another fight. But the other version of him that we used to know, he's not coming through that door anymore.
The reality is he served a really important purpose in essentially putting to bed the Kamaru Colby era, that era of welterweight, and he will always have that. And it's
trilogy with Usman, hell yeah.
It's a very important contribution that he made, but he is not built for this generation of fighters.
Wow.
And dude, look what they're doing to him.
I know. Prates, though, got a real turn here with this win. Here's Prates talking about wanting a title shot.
And I have to ask, did you see Michael Morales' knockout? Because he also got one too.
Yeah, Michael is really good. He's young. He's a really strong guy. But I think I still more entertaining than him. And I think it's my time.
What if because I seem like everyone on the internet wants to see you two fight. Do you think that's a fight better when one of you is the champion and then it could be a big main event?
Yeah, I think so. But I can fight it whenever UFC won, I can, of course, want to fight for the belt. But if the UFC say you need to fight Michael, you guys need to fight like a semifinal and go to the belt. Okay, let's go, let's fight.
Okay, I like that attitude. Here's Michael Morales' response to that.
The motion for the belt, but Carlos Prates also wants the title shot. He declared himself the most entertaining fighter in the division. And we asked him about your fight, and he goes, you're exciting, he's more exciting, and maybe eventually you can fight, but he would also be willing to fight you maybe in a, quote, semifinals match.
It looks like Morales speaks
to
some
face
English.
The welterweight champion.
Right?
So what did you make of his win and his comments?
Carlos Prates siempre dice que es el más interesante la pelea de la categoría. O sea, obviamente digo que tu pelea fue tremenda, pero la de él fue mejor. O sea, ¿y qué nos importa de tener que enfrentar a ti, o sea, la próxima vez? O sea, ¿qué piensas de una semifinal por la oportunidad de pelear por el cinturón, ustedes dos?
Pues no importa, a mí la UFC es la que manda. Yo no soy el que dice vas a pelear con esta persona, quieres o no, no. Si me dicen vas a pelear con él, yo lo voy a hacer, no me importa. Y si me dicen que tengo que esperarme un rato más para el título, voy a esperar. Mientras me dejen pelear a mí, yo estoy feliz de la vida. Eso se da paso a paso. No hay desesperación, estoy joven. Estoy aprovechando todas las oportunidades que me da Dios. Estoy aprovechando a mi madre que está disfrutando de mis peleas, mis esquinas, que son las personas que siempre me acompañan. Y pues más que nada, pues si se da la pelea con él, con Prates, con Ian Garry, con Belal, con cualquiera, yo voy a esperar mi oportunidad y la voy a aceptar. Creo que está más que claro que yo cumplí mi promesa, una vez más lo digo. Cumplí mi promesa de ganar la pelea al primer round. Cumplí mi parte, los otros peleadores no lo hicieron, así que el que se lleve la pelea, pues ese es el que el presidente diga, ¿no?
Listen, the UFC owns this one. The UFC makes the shots, makes the calls. They will see who's going to fight who, and so we're just going to follow the Super Bowl, what they say. And listen, if I'm supposed to fight Prates, I'll fight Prates. If I'm supposed to fight Ian or Palau, whoever it is, I'll take it. I'm not going to turn down a fight. I want to fight for the title. If I need to fight one of them, okay. Listen, I fulfilled my promise. I said I was going to get a knockout in the first round. I got it. Other fighters didn't fulfill their promise. So whatever the UFC says, we're going to fight.
I think that Usman's probably number one, has the best chance of getting this, got company support, all that. I think if Ian Garry wins, he's going to have the second best chance to get the title shot. I'm not really sure where Shavkat fits in beyond. I think they're going to make him win one more.
For sure.
So yes, make this fight. They're hot. People want them. The loser won't fall off for good. You just got to retool, and now you'll have an absolute viable contender in one of these two in Prates and Morales, rather than what we have now, which is two hot guys on the rise, but you're not fully sure, especially since we did see Prates
got two hot guys on the rise
2 fights ago. I mean, that's what this welterweight division has given us, hot men. Here is Dana on this topic. Are we getting Prates Morales next?
The rest of the main card, a couple of star-making performances in Michael Morales and Carlos Prates. I know you guys have always been high on Carlos, but to put away Leon like that and calling himself the most entertaining fighter in the division, just what did you make of his kind of, like I said, star-making performance out there?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you get these kind of opportunities, like Ewing tonight, I mean, when you get an opportunity, you come to make the most of it. And there was a lot of that on the card tonight.
And then speaking of Michael Morales, not just his performance today, but kind of all week at the press conference, he kind of came off as a superstar. He got most of the questions. He's had the longest media day. There's a ton of Ecuadorian media here specifically for him. So you've got to see money with him moving forward.
Listen, he's obviously incredible. He's 19-0. He's cool as hell. And he's got it all. You can check all the boxes with that kid.
All right, let's check those boxes together right there. That was topic number 3. Not done with 322 yet, but folks, I'll tell you what's rolling right now. The NBA season, it's rolling. It is picture it rolling, okay? And DraftKings' newest game, Pick 6, is the easiest way to play for your shot at big wins. NBA stats are lighting it up. Now their numbers aren't just highlights. There's your shot to cash in. So here's how it works. You're going to just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better picks give you the bigger payout. So you nail your picks tonight And don't just win, you stack up those payouts. New DraftKings customers get $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Tell them about it, Luke.
Don't just watch basketball. Pick, play, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code COMBAT. That's COMBAT with a K. Play just $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Ends December 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.com. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promo.
Luke, before I get into topic number 4, I did forget on that main card. How about that lightweight bout to kick it out? Beneil Dariush ended up missing weight, forcing this to be a catchweight bout, but he lost his third in his last 4 fights, and it only took 16 seconds or 15, I think is what the UFC is officially calling it, as the God of War, Benoit Saint-Denis, delivered for the 3rd straight time since that 2-fight losing skid, both by stoppage and damaging losses physically to Poirier and Moicano. Now he's got 3 straight finishes, and he jumped on the cage and did the discount double check. Is BSD at age 29 all the way back after this? Or do the replays kind of confirm that maybe Benny's chin or ear in this case?
This doesn't tell us much. I mean, it's not a question of, I don't believe in BSD per se. It's a question of Dariush has taken a lot of damage in his career. He's lost 3 of his last 4, all 3 of those via stoppage, in the first round.
Ooh.
He's 36 years old. It's, to me, I have a lot of respect for the career of Beneil Dariush, but it looks like it might be time to start considering an exit plan.
Luke, afterwards, BSD was talking about wanting a BMF title shot. But here's the deal in my mind, and I want to say this to you. If the UFC comes to a point where they realize, and they might soon, that this welterweight division is so stacked that maybe it doesn't make sense at the moment for Ilya versus Islam. Maybe that doesn't make any sense. Isn't BSD rising into a lightweight title shot opportunity against Ilya Topuria one of those just slam dunk bangers that should be the main event of a pay-per-view coming up?
I just feel like Topuria would punch his fucking lights out within the first couple of minutes.
But like the Gaethje fight, we kind of have to see this. Even though I'm already pushing him into a 3rd division fight here, if they wanted to go to that, don't you have to see him against the contenders that are starting to line up? I know BSD was ranked 14 coming in, and I know that's a lot of this seems to be. I mean, look, BSD got dropped on a calf kick. As he was getting up, he got hit with a knee, and then he just uncorked this overhand that just one touch, and Dariush was down. Talked about the issues against Dariush in terms of recuperative skills lately. But God of War is marketable. He's tough as shit. He's going to make it a fun fight, even if you believe that Topuria carves him up. I still need Topuria against Tsarukyan or Gaethje or Paddy or this guy.
Tsarukyan's facing Hooker on Saturday.
We could see a tour of Ilya in some very interesting fights. You don't consider this one of them? That's what I'm ultimately asking.
Not right now.
Okay. All right.
Not right now. He's got work to do.
It's still true, but I don't know if I need him in a BMF title fight. I just need him against a highly ranked guy in the top 10 here.
I think he's all the things you said he is, but whether he's elite is not clear to me.
All right. I mean, he is whatever I say he is, and if he wasn't, Luke,
then why would I say I am?
Hey, let's go to topic number 4, and that is the UFC 322 preliminary card. Main evented in a way in the featured prelim by Bo Nickel, turning it back after that disappointing loss to RDR, coming off of, to be fair, the disappointing decision win over our buddy there from Scotland, Paul Craig, this time against Rodolfo Vieira, who maybe was there to have this done against him in a rebuilding effort for Bo Nickel's reputation, just 9 fights into his MMA career. And the 3-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion delivered a high kick knockout in round 3 that was brutal. Came right after the crowd was booing Bo for not doing enough offensively. And a lot of this fight, even though a lot of this fight was Bo breaking Vieira down impressively with strikes, there was a lot of circling, a lot of killing time. The crowd did boo. And then we got Bo jumping up on the cage and giving the double middle finger. Yeah. Did you like the fire from Bo as much as you like the finish?
I don't care if he wants to be loved or hated. I just want him to pick a lane. It doesn't matter to me either way.
He's telling the fans to pick a lane. That's what the speech was afterwards.
Yeah, but they'll pick a lane when you do. You know what I mean? Or they'll force you into one, I suppose. But either way, listen, obviously the finish is spectacular. I'm going to say, did I see a bunch of good things in that fight? Absolutely. He threw more than overhands. He had some decent combination punching. He took the fight in terms of the wrestling to Vieira to basically start out the fight, right? Better footwork. There was just a better attitude competitively and a better assessment and use of the tools of his offense, both in going back to the wrestling. I'd like to see a little bit more of it, but I definitely liked what I saw. And in the striking, some clear improvements over just that same boring-ass overhand in terms of setting things up, which is exactly what he did. Those body kicks, BC. If you go back and look, Vieira has a hand up and then the hand going down because he anticipates it's going to the body, and it comes up the other side. He set that up perfectly. It was brutal. It was vicious by any measurement. So I think this was a good first step in the right direction.
He had that slam takedown.
But it was just that, a step.
A step. Yeah.
They need to build this. Again, I keep saying it with Morales at 25. Bo, I'm not sure what his age is, but still relatively young. Take your time. However, this was not, this doesn't change a lot of what you still learned from the RDR fight, but it's the path back to erasing that. Great first step.
I did actually like the fire from Bo, even though I do think some of the criticism is still warranted about the lack of putting all the skills together, and he's going to need more fights and maybe more fights like this to keep, building it all back up. But
the very best ones, though, don't live for the fans.
I know, and I do get that.
Or the media.
But I do get some of the criticisms that it feels like when you hear him talk, even though he says the right things, he said all the right things coming into this fight, there's some disillusionment level that he believes his ability is here, and it's not.
That's the
there
part
yet.
I'm struggling with, because I'm not saying he's being fake. I think he's struggling with, I want to be a humble guy and not get out in front of my skis, but also fuck your life. I'm better than all of you. And these two things are now currently in tension.
All right, let's move on down to Erin Blanchfield, who had that fight against Tracy Cortez, two ranked flyweights looking after recent defeats. It was Rose Namajunas for Tracy. It was, of course, Manon Farreau in that #1 contenders match for Erin Blanchfield to see who's stepping forward. And it was Blanchfield in a big way here by rear naked choke. But look, it did come after almost 2 full rounds of Tracy Cortez getting the better of her on the feet with the boxing. Very competitive fight. But it was like Blanchfield went this long stretch without shooting at all, even though that's her game. But as soon as she started shooting, the fight was quickly over after that.
Yeah.
It obviously catapults her into contention. Even Valentina mentioned her name. But are you convinced yet that she's evolved enough through the loss to get to this point? Because I was impressed with the win. I wasn't impressed with the fight up until the point that she won it.
She was walking into punches over and over again. The thing that you realize about Erin Blanchfield's game, why it's powerful, BC, is she's kind of just a battering ram.
Yeah.
She just keeps banging on the door until it breaks down. And then at that point, it's off to the races. But to do that, it's a little bit ugly to get there. And I was hoping to see a little bit of more sophistication in this contest.
Tracy also took her down first.
She
before
did.
Erin even shot for
Although
one.
to her point, she managed it well. But I would like to see her get her head off the center line. She was just walking into shit.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. It's like, was the rear naked choke that she eventually got, which was, again, didn't have perfect positioning, but was able to control one of the arms and then get the throat. That was really great. I mean, dude, when she just keeps attacking and eventually she gets through. The problem is against the skilled operators at the top, especially if Valentina stays there, that's a hopeless fucking way of fighting her. So I appreciate how well she did in this contest, but the issues that showed up here would only be magnified against someone like Shevchenko.
Skilled operators. Is Tracy Cortez overrated? Can we officially
Depends
say
how
that?
you rated her to begin with.
Because I actually
she's not overrated to me, but I didn't rate her super highly.
I was more impressed by certain elements of her skills, from the takedown defense to the head movement to the boxing. She did get hit. You can see it in her face. Like, it started to add up. I didn't like how quickly she succumbed to being put in a situation where she could be yanked back and choked like that. She tapped pretty quick. But it's sort of like she's always going to be overrated and underrated at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, just judge her by the quality of the wins. Who did she beat and how did she beat them? She tends to fade over the course of about, not so much in terms of cardio, but in focus and in offensive urgency. Against a person like Blanchfield, you can now see that's a really bad matchup because Blanchfield's the opposite.
It's kind of Tisha Torres like in her prime with no power, but has the rounded out skills in the other areas.
Yeah, but also Tisha had great footwork and could keep distance.
But that lack of power is what
the lack
kills
of power was
her.
a big problem for her. So, I mean, again, to your point that you raised, here's what you're observing. You're observing that Tracy Cortez has some real skills. She's a good or decent anyway athlete, certainly, and she can do things. Like she can really take people down. She can put good combinations together. She can look the part. But by the time the fight's over, you tend to have as many questions as you do answers about what it all means, and it never really seems to graduate from that position.
I think that's a fair way to say it. Ethan Ewing stole the show on 8 days' notice.
Holy shit. He has a big-ass head and face, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And he went in with a big-ass performance. I was assured he was going to get – I don't even want to say robbed on the scorecards because I felt like – I'm like, I don't know. It was a close fight in some key areas, but I kind of thought it would be one of those situations where like, hey, I want to see him again. I was impressed with that effort. No, he got the win, and it did turn out that it was deserved in the end against big-time prospect despite being 31 years old, Malcolm Wellmaker. Luke, this was refreshing to see somebody who had just fought in Anthony Pettis' promotion the week before in the main event in a championship fight and turns it around like this to change his life, his fortunes, his reputation, his name in one night, and kind of fraud checking Wellmaker in the process. But then I saw people being like, man, UFC got caught here with the matchmaking. No, I felt like a really cool development happened, and now here's a guy I want to see again.
I do think this was a bad loss for Wellmaker.
Yeah, he walked into shit continuously.
He had several problems in this fight. One was Bo
But I wasn't all in on him. Maybe that's why
I was intrigued by him. All in's a strong word. He had the same problem Bo Nickel did a little bit, which was neither of them have a jab. It blows my fucking mind. Who is training MMA, especially if you're in your 20s, early 20s, mid-20s? Who is training MMA right now at that stage and you're not making your jab the centerpiece of your offense? Look at me. You're fucking up if you're not doing it. You're fucking up if you're not.
Head movement, please. Head movement.
The other part, too. Oh, this is what killed me about Wellmaker. He kept trying to do shoulder rolling. That's what it looks like if someone tries to do shoulder rolling and they don't know how to shoulder roll, where they get hit the entire way anyway, or it doesn't really add anything. They just kind of move through the process of getting hit. That killed me. He was overly reliant. He's got a devastating right hook. That right hook is is a moneymaker. And by the way, he rung Ewing's bell a couple times as well, but he overly relied on it. But really, dude, the story is Ewing. Ewing just took the fight to him all the way through. Had a diversified attack, had Wellmaker backing up, just put punches in his face, even if all of them weren't devastating.
And even when he would get lit up, he would have an answer.
And he just kind of broke through. I'm not going to say he broke Wellmaker, but he certainly put him on a place that Wellmaker was just not expecting, did not seem very comfortable, and just didn't have a lot of answers in the end.
Exactly. Real quick, Fatima Klein against Angela Hill.
She looked great.
I know she lost her UFC debut to Jasmine Jasdavicius, came back with 2 straight knockouts, and then in here, skill for skill across the board, she was very far ahead of the Angela Hill level and seems to be pointing upwards in this.
Beat her everywhere. Maybe could have stopped her or got pretty close earlier in the bout.
Shouted out Jesus afterwards.
Shouted out Jesus. Is an American, so to the extent that that's important for the industry, something to keep in mind. BC, I thought she looked great. She looked devastating, dangerous, well-rounded. There wasn't a place, and Angela Hill is tough as shit. So, it's a little hard to put her away, and some of the very best in the world have not been able to do it. But to beat her so comprehensively says a lot.
All right, let me hear who was your other person to get your attention to shine. Is it a blonde dyed hair Kyle Dawkins in this return in which he won his 6th straight, second in a row in the UFC there? Is it Pat Sabatini getting a big win here despite some damage?
It's definitely not going to be Baisengar Susakayev.
Dude, people hate him right now.
What happened? Because he acts like he's Kobe and he's fighting in the G League. It's like, get it together a little bit.
And was he really down on the scorecards in this fight? I mean, McConaughey was in it, was landing, but I didn't feel like he was like...
I never thought McConaughey was really in it, but...
No, he was competitive, but I didn't feel like he was winning.
Yeah, I didn't think he was putting it on Susakayev. But Susakayev just has this kind of attitude, like, I'm above all of these guys. And I'm like, based on what? Because you beat up some guys on Contender Series? Like, who gives a fuck? Anyway, Kyle Dawkins, dude.
Even more than Hobocop against Kopylov?
Hobocop was good against Kopylov. Kopylov just kind of seems out of hand. They had open stance, and he kept leaning inside on the open stance and then just getting lit up for it.
Oh, right.
So he's a little one note with that. But, dude, Kyle Dawkins, again, what does it mean to beat Gerald Mearshart, who I also think is sort of getting closer to the end here.
He only has 21 career losses, Luke.
He's getting a little bit closer to the end here. But, dude, Kyle Dawkins got bounced from the UFC, as you mentioned, had a long road back, gets back and has 2 wins in a row, 2 first-round wins in a row, 2 first-round, obviously, finishes in a row. tremendous return. And by the way, looks better.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just that he's beating, oh, you're back and now you're beating guys. He's looking smooth and efficient with his boxing. I absolutely think he's brought it along. Shouts to Kyle Dawkins. Fun little win for him.
This was a great night. Even with, if you were not entertained.
Co-main sucked.
If you lost your bets and you were not entertained in the final two fights, even with that, this was a well-matched card. I don't really pop for their gate records because I know the prices just keep getting jacked up. But like the crowd was awesome. There was a damn brawl in there for, and unfortunately, it didn't look like too many people got hurt that didn't deserve it, Luke, or whatever, didn't have it coming. By the way, on that note, Javier Mendez was on Submission Radio today, in which he claims that Dylan Dennis went to the section where all the Dagestan fighters were sitting, put his phone up and was showing an AI image of Islam and Ali kissing
and maybe doing porn and stuff
then
like that.
Also was like mocking the religion. Like, I have no sympathy for this guy. Like, are we kidding?
So
you
want to should we have this?
No, we'll do that and have you seen this shit.
Okay,
Sorry, I was jumping the gun right there. I loved it. Long Island Luke, can I get your closing thoughts on UFC 322? Anybody we overlooked here in our analysis, or just like it felt like MMA was back, dude? I don't know.
It was a great night. I don't know if it's just because we were there, BC, but I felt like a new energy, man. It was sick. But I do want to say that what were we just talking about? I'm blanking.
Who else on the card impressed you?
No, I feel like you guys covered everything. It was something else. Yeah, I'm blanking on my
All right,
thoughts.
it was great talking to you, though.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. All right, let's go to topic number 5. This won't take long, even though the fight took 12 rounds. I got to give them credit here. The rematch, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, the pageantry at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium felt a lot like the first fight, which to me was the fight of the year back in April. One of the craziest fights of this decade in terms of just drama, presentation. The rematch didn't turn that way, despite, Luke, that walkout of
with 50 Cent.
That was Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
With his dad next to him. He's wearing a fur coat.
Big
50 Cent walking out in the stadium like fireworks go.
50 Cent's taken a few L's recently. He went out. He was opposite Mamdani. That didn't go great. And then here he is walking out with Eubank, who looked terrible.
But that moment was awesome.
That's one of the better walkouts I've seen in a long time.
They set the stage for what they got, but what they got in the end was a weight drain. Chris Eubank Jr. for the second straight time accepting the rehydration clause. This time you saw the effects of it more than his decision win in the first round, in the first meeting. This one went the distance, but it was a wide unanimous decision win for Conor Benn. So Luke, what do we really say about this? Because
what the fuck was that 116 scorecard?
Oh, 8 rounds to 4? Yeah.
What 4 rounds did fucking
Eubank got dropped twice
win?
In round 12, could have been stopped there, was just beaten to the punch throughout. It's like, one narrative I'm seeing coming off is, what a waste of time, no need to even talk about it. Eubank was weight drained. Maybe he wasn't weight drained on the level of Oscar against Manny, but he was weight drained and he was really never in this. I also think you got to give Conor Benn respect because he's fighting against a middleweight at 160, yes, with a rehydration clause, but he once again was the puncher and took it to him. That's why I picked him to win by decision. I just didn't think it would be this one-sided. Yeah. Where are you leaning in your... Well, ultimately, what did we learn from this event?
People are making the wrong argument about the weight rehydration because what they're saying is, well, he agreed to it, and if it negatively affected him, then that's just the risk that he accepted. Now, that is true, and I agree with that part, but they keep not realizing there are a finite amount of times you can drain yourself the way he did to make the first fight, and the way in which he did it, plus the nature of that fight, and then the nature of the controversial amount of speedy recovery he was entitled to with the ambulance not being able to leave the arena. How true it is, I don't know, but certainly at a bare minimum, the weight cut itself and then the brutal fight itself. Dude, when Teddy Atlas says things like guys leave a piece of themselves in the ring every time they go, that's always true, and that was especially true. He clearly is not the same person anymore. He should not be fighting at, well, I mean, he needs to find a weight where he doesn't have to do this anymore because this is a path to nothingness. He cannot beat anyone good in this state at that weight class.
No, he should. If he wants to keep fighting, he should use his name, go back up to 68, take.
Totally. So I agree with you that Benn clearly looked ready to go and fine-tuned some things. I absolutely thought he was just a little bit more precise.
Yes.
A little bit more patient, a little bit more careful. But I'm sorry, it takes someone blind to not notice that Eubank looked like he was moving underwater.
Yeah.
And there's no way to watch this fight without taking that into account.
Here's Eubank reacting to his defeat.
Yeah, I've been through hell and back. to make it here today. I genuinely thought that regardless of the issues that I've been dealing with, I would be able to go in there and win. Use my boxing skills, use what you guys saw in that first fight to beat Conor Benn. From that first round, I realized that I was mistaken. But it's okay. You know, I'm a fighter. This is what I do. Regardless of, you know, the dangers and the risk, you know, we go to war. That's what we do. I tried my best. Conor Benn put on a hell of a fight.
He did put on a hell of a fight. Luke, Benn should get a big fight off of this. This was a comeback, you know, win, regardless of all that, on a very big stage. Should it be at 47, where he did his best work, it seemed, but had PED issues? Should it be at 54, where when he was, I guess, clean, he looked not the best, but and these fights have dramatically recharged his value. I think it's made him a better fighter. These are difficult challenges, even with the rehydration, especially the first fight against Eubank. There's a lot of big names out there. How do you cash in on this if you're Conor Benn and you're Eddie Hearn?
I don't personally care which weight class it is, but I think if you've been this big for now this long, going right back to 47 seems like a bad idea. I think no matter what, the next fight has to be at 54. Now, how they do that, do they tune up a guy? Do they give him something a little bit more illustrious with an opponent that people really care about? I don't know how to answer that one, but at 47 next seems like suicide.
But at 54, we have a lot of names, but we haven't gotten to the point where they've all fought to figure out who the number one guy is.
Yes.
The two guys who don't have titles, Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, we're talking about sometimes at a higher level than Fundora or Murtazaliev. I don't know if any single fight against any of those names really is a event yet, though.
What about, I'm going to make something up.
You're going to say Errol Spence, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Errol Spence.
I kind of like that.
I kind of like that fight, too.
I kind of like that.
I think that'd be an interesting one.
Jermell Charlo?
Okay. All right, I take it.
Okay,
okay.
Those aren't soccer stadium fights, but they're big.
But they're big, and also the Charlos always got a chip on their shoulder, so they'd make it a little bit chippy.
That would make it spicy. Yeah. Hey, they tried on Saturday. I don't need a trilogy. If you want to do it at the end, I mean, Eubank's almost at the end.
Even Benn said afterwards, "We're done."
First win in the family series for the Benn family.
Yeah.
No.
But even then, they said we're done, and I don't need to see them fight again. No.
Turkey teased some big announcements for next year. I didn't think this was a great undercard, but whatever.
The sport's struggling. Jason Statham was there.
Yeah. Rod Stewart too. We'll get to him.
Rod Stewart looks the same in the last 20. He hasn't aged in the last 20 years. It's unbelievable.
Luke, let's close our topics with this talk.
Anymore.
It's really taking personal care of yourself, smelling great, using the right ingredients. When I'm talking about, do your balls stink? Tell us about a time you needed Mando the most. Don't ever be in that situation again, because when you shop Mando for deodorant, then we're talking about a situation where you're going high performance, whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere, from the pits to the balls to the thigh folds to the belly buttons. Yeah, we're using that stuff. Butt cracks too. Mando will be there for you. And at the end of the day, that's all we're asking, okay? Consistency, smelling great, won't let you down in the big moments, whether you're climbing up to the space above the garage to get down the Christmas tree this holiday season. Whatever you are doing, Mando was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. But yet Mando is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Luke Thomas, this has been a before and after in my deodorant journey. I don't even remember what I was using before, because once I got down with Mando and I'm picking between the spray, the cream, the stick, right? I'm going on anywhere. They're there for me in every category of the day, and that's what I'm talking about.
That's right. Whether it's the T or the A, you got to clean it all up no matter what. But here's the real part about this that I mention this all the time, which is, are you getting not merely ingredients that work, to your point, 72-hour freshness, yes, but these are not messed up ingredients that are going to poison you, that are bad for you, that have questionable utility beyond just fragrance. These are baking soda free and paraben free ingredients, meaning you can trust it that it's not just good for the way you smell, but it's not going to harm your body. You're getting quality ingredients that work, that are going to take care of you in the end. This is what you want. And of course, Comes in great smells like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. All that stuff. All the stuff you understand about it, it's got. But it's not going to poison you. It's not going to have a bunch of nonsense in there that your body's going to absorb of very questionable utility. This is not that kind of a product. So how can you get it? Let's tell you. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. So, for example, the mini body wash, or let's say deodorant wipes, and then free shipping. And as a special offer for you donks, the listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. That's going to be COMBAT at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's COMBAT with a K, K-O-M-B-T. So here's what you're going to do. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness.
Indeed, right there. All right.
Why were you making that face when I was doing the read?
I don't remember at that moment, Luke. You know, I make different faces at different times. Look, due to our late start, you can blame Amtrak for that. We will pass by the DMs from Donks, but don't remember.
Sorry about that,
I'm sorry,
guys.
don't forget that you can reach out to our show right now at morningkombat@gmail.com, and you can load up for this Friday when we find out what's in your fan subs, your dead wrongs. You want to reach out to the show, you want to say hi, you want to show Mikey your piece, morningkombat@gmail.com. All right, I have, Luke, an ambitious and overloading set of shit as I scoured the globe on Sunday for the good, the bad, the ugly, all that stuff, combat sports. Beyond that, Luke, I wanted to show you the most viral videos available to a man these days and get your reaction.
Let me get my
This
glasses.
one's called, Have You Seen This Shit?
By the way, I have to take a big-ass dump when this is over.
Oh, this is great. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, by the way, the no shit bathroom is back, but still no shit.
I'm just going to shit in the sink.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to do the Randy Quaid in was it Kingpin?
Yes.
When he took a shit in the pisser?
Oh,
yeah.
God. Look, this is one of the, this UFC 322 is a big theme on today's Have You Seen This Shit? But how about Hasbullah, who was part of the...
Why did he have a DoorDash
Well,
bag?
watch this, Luke. Your Dasher sending proof your order was delivered. I don't know, Luke, but it was brilliant. Did you see how happy he was in the videos of him eating that famous $45 pizza backstage with Habib?
No.
The two of them were just found in the corner, just
I don't
live
pay
streaming.
attention to him.
All right, it was very cute.
That is funny.
Luke, this was my own cell cam footage from cage side after the Bo Nickel preliminary fight. This is me filming this. Watch the security guard right there, the old guy.
Yeah.
He's going to get kicked in the face by Dylan Dennis coming up.
Oh,
wow. I didn't capture it in full, but this
Those are his red shoes?
Yes, this was sort of the tail end of this Dennis brawl against the entire extended Islam Makhachev team, or as Dana said, all the Muslims in the world, or whatever he said.
He called them the Muslim Brotherhood, which I know he didn't mean bad by it, but that is a specific group that's not so nice.
That is not so nice. So, Chonko, a.k.a. John Pork, was a big part of that. I saw Muslim Salikov.
He had bloody knuckles. I saw that.
We'll get to that. Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov. There was all that part of it. And as we're talking about on this extended, this is a stupid story. It was a quick thing. Luckily, no one got seriously hurt. I just can't believe how many people are defending Dylan Dennis and trying to completely victimize all those guys.
Hold on. It is true that, just because he has trolled people does not mean that they have a right to physically assault him.
I'm not living full on the creed of what the Dagestani's been saying in interviews after you said one bad thing about us once.
Yes.
Next time we see you, we'll kill you.
He is right in that sense.
But when you're showing up, poking the bear.
But right. This is my point. If you're coming up and your goal is to, this is the argument against Dennis, which is he is quite clearly, he's not famous anymore because of his fighting exploits, BC. He's a provocateur. Congratulations, you provoked him.
They don't
have a right to touch him. I understand. I get it. I'm not defending it. I'm simply saying here in the real world, if you provoke people, do they respond? Yeah. So sometimes they do.
Even though Dennis exited in cuffs, Dana and the post-fight press conference said he wasn't going to press charges. A lot of people, then journalists, even got after me and saying, why didn't you guys push? First of all, I wasn't even at the post-fight press conference. I was doing HQ in the hotel room, but they were like, why didn't you guys push him to see why those guys didn't get arrested? again, you show up in the fighter seats, you leave your seats to sit in fighter seats, and you're trying to stir
They got
shit
kicked
up.
out too. They watched the
They did.
They had to watch.
So they came back after the fight, and then security instantly got all
they
of
got
them
rid
out.
of them.
Here's a reverse angle where you get to see some of Shevchenko, a.k.a. Magomed Zanikov, who really stole
with the hat
this
on backwards
entire weekend. He's got a hat on there, but this was sort of the behind view of how it did kick off. And once it kicked off, it got crazy fast and spread over to the media section, spread into the area around the octagon. Again, I'm not saying like this is, look, there's a chair involved.
Listen.
I'm not saying this is great from Team Islam. This is not great behavior, but this is an extension of UFC 229. It really is, right?
Also, I just want to say, Dylan Dennis has been involved in 2 of the most famous brawls, crowd brawls, in UFC history.
Yes, and he's a clout chaser who shows up at Misfits Boxing and gets in fights in the parking lot.
Long Island. Where are you on the Dennis equation?
I mean, I was oblivious to all this shit even going down until I saw BC's tweet like 2 hours after it happened. But yeah, I'm not high on the guy at all.
Like I said, you can't assault people for what they say. You shouldn't do it. And if they had press charges, fine. But at the same time, dude, if you try to piss people off, listen. I had someone explain this to me once. If you try your best to piss people off, you do not get to act surprised when you succeed.
Well
period.
Done. Well, look, John Pork, whether he doesn't like, so technically, look, he doesn't like to be called John Pork, which is an Italian brain rot character. My son's into it huge. I know people are connecting it to the Muslim religion, and and I get that. But he has become an overnight sensation. In reality, his nickname is Shevchenko, which is the name of his village in Dagestan, according to Islam. That's what they call him. His real name is what? Magomed Zanikov. Is a former, recognized Sambo champion, won his Dana White Contender Series, is probably been a good fighter. But I don't think anyone, including him, expected this takeoff this week. When I sat down at Media Day, my first question to Islam was like, is that John Pork over there? And like, they brought him over. They were kind of having fun with him. He's a meme. Dude, he's a meme, but like to the level of overnight celebrity. Here's him after the brawl posting a picture with Jorge Masvidal with bloody knuckles that just continues because he beat up a guy most people don't like. And he did get big shots in on that. And here is on Friday at the press conference, was this? No, at the weigh-in, sorry.
The weigh-in.
No, this was the press conference on Thursday.
Thursday's press conference. Holy shit. Listen to this reaction. It's ridiculous, but I love it.
Good for him.
Good for him. So even I took a picture, and people were like, oh, you're being disrespectful calling him John Pork. I was like, that's all I knew him as, all right? When I took this picture, he was cool. He laughed. I told him, watch out for Timmy Cheese and whatever. But even if we're going to move to Shevchenko, dude, this dude better take advantage of this because this is an overnight starter.
You can meme your way to stardom so fast.
Yeah, there we go. My family.
I just want to say, pre-press conference, they cheered for him probably 10 different times. Like every 5 minutes, they would start the cheer, and then he'd walk over and get like a huge ovation.
I mean, it's involved in the connected of the overall, like, what the hell are we doing with 6'7" and all this stupidness? It's stupid. It's stupid as shit. Sometimes you can use that to
ride that wave.
And I think he has escalated that. Luke, elsewhere at UFC 322, recognized real when Poatan stepped away from his accounting job to take this picture with Big Bang. Luke.
Yeah, they ate chowder.
They did. Zhang Weili was there for, of course, to check out Zhang Weili. He was sitting with the Leech.
Who was? Big Bang?
Big Bang.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Chinese power.
Yeah, you don't have to call him Big Bang.
That's how he pronounces it.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
okay.
Does the Leech train with Weili or anything? I know they're both Chinese, but he was like with her at Media Day and all that stuff. So I don't know if he's like with her or what.
John Wood was in the corner of Weili.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Even though Brad Riddell seemed to do a good part of that training camp in Thailand.
Yep.
This was the Carlos Prates, Marlboro designed car that was making its way around NYC. Prates said it's not his car, but Luke, what do you make of this? Prates, of course, also said that the UFC would not allow a tobacco sponsorship.
I mean, that's cool as shit. I mean, I've never thought cigarettes were cool. All right, excuse me. I haven't thought cigarettes were cool in a very long time. But this is making me reconsider it.
Hashtag the fight nerds. He's everyone's favorite fight nerd during a time when everyone's turning on the fight nerds. You know? Well,
he's also winning, so that helps.
Okay. Speaking of protest, Luke, everyone loves him, even Ian Gary's son.
Leo, come here. The camera has a question for you. Who is your favorite fighter?
Who is it? Kelly's Magic.
Imagine beating a man up for 23 and a half minutes and then leaving the fight, and your son's favorite fighter is the other guy.
It's cool as shit, dude.
You know what I mean?
It is
I mean,
what it is.
that's the most cuck thing about him, to be honest with you. The other stuff, I don't give a shit about. That's funny.
Islam Fight Week would not be complete, neither would a Poatan or Chimaev one, without picking on DC, right? Okay.
They all call him fat.
I mean, this was Habib taking DC down before he was ready at the practice gym. Let's check it out.
Let's go, DC. Let's go, DC. Hey, don't push my face, please. Why? Because how can you ask to grapple and not be willing for your face to get touched? Oh, you try to bully. This is crazy talk. You're never gonna bully me. I don't need to. Hey, I'm not lightweight anymore. You're like babies. No, you're not baby no more. Let's go, DC.
Dude, they love messing with him.
He take mount. No. He take mount. DC.
Dude, the Dagestanis and DC is the best buddy cop shit
It's great.
I've ever
don't
seen.
See you a long time. Come get him. Help. Yeah, get him. Go police, bro.
I'm telling you, dude, these guys.
Dude, Habib's owning it here, but he's been training like, you know.
I mean, also, DC is real fat and old now. I mean,
I haven't grappled for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Last week I get up to one.
Speaking
these
of,
guys, they're broken English. I'm telling you, it makes them funnier
hilarious.
and more profound.
It's almost like Triple G, but with a harder edge to it, you know? And then here is when they sat down, Islam had another, intervention about his weight, Luke.
Brother, I'm happy that day you burn a lot of calories.
I always.
Always?
Always. I lift weights. You comment. You say, this guy work hard, huh?
Yeah, I'm happy. When I see you post something inside the gym, I'm like really happy.
Why?
Because, brother, people look at you and thinking this is like one of the best fighter of all the time, and
It was even when I was fighting, people think this.
no, when you're fighting, you look good, man.
Nah, I know. I look good now, too, though.
Oh, that's great. That's great stuff.
Their whole shtick is hilarious to me.
Let's go out to England. Fit check update on one Versace Rick Reno, Luke, who was called this weekend on X everything from Temu Elton John to a man cosplaying as his 60-year-old Nana's handbag.
How did he end up here?
Turkey's elevation.
Do you understand? Like, this is only a way that you dress if you lost a bet, right?
Do you think he looks like Nana's handbag or what?
He looks like Mrs. Doubtfire without the mask. Right?
Oh, Ricky.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Speaking of grandparents, it's time for some quick elder abuse. Luke, we haven't had this in a while.
I do love elder abuse.
Watch out, Grandpa is on the rascal again. The rascal king. Do it again.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Gramps. Hit the brakes, please. Hit the brakes.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no remorse either, all right?
Not giving a fuck.
Let's go to the gender reveal, but you got to protect Abuela when you do these things, right, Luke? What do you think it'd be, a girl or a boy here?
That's Abuela with the thing?
No, Abuela's in the orange to the right.
Okay.
That's her daughter. Oh, it's going to be a boy.
Yeah, it's going to be a boy. Just macing the fuck out of her with this.
The great Muta mist spit all over your face. That's fantastic.
That's
awesome. We're going to also hear about Grandma in the back seat.
You guys ever been smoking a cigarette? Flick the butt out the window, going down the freeway. Like 4 or 5 minutes later, you smell something disgusting coming from the back, so you look. Grandma's back there fingering her.
Okay.
I don't really know what that was supposed to prove. Luke, are you going to wear this to the Thomas family Christmas party or no?
You jingle my bells, I'll give you a white Christmas. I don't know if my wife would like that too much.
Okay. Luke, this was found on the streets of Miami. They call it the Gluck Gluck Mobile. Would you drive this?
That's that Donald Trump, Bill Clinton mobile.
It was also a big week for Rod Stewart, Luke. First, Stewart's 45-year-old son, Sean, made his pro boxing debut at a Misfits card in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Benn the Bane on the call, and watch what happens 15 seconds in against somebody called B-Dave.
Unafraid of the power. Oh! And down goes Sean! B-Dave flatlines Rod Stewart's son in round one.
He's got a mullet doing the little bit in a boxing match against a 45-year-old man.
With Ben the Bane on the call, dude.
That's as American as it gets.
The 80-year-old Rod Stewart was also front row at Eubank Benn 2 in London, sitting next to Pierce Brosnan and Michael Buffer.
Dude, how does Rod Stewart look the same as he did when I was a kid?
I know.
It's fucking insane.
Rod's boxing biopic.
Can I tell you, like, Michael Buffer looking a little bit like the Crypt Keeper these days?
Looking like a wax version of himself.
Not loving it.
Stewart's boxing biopic also hit theaters this week with Sydney Sweeney playing the lead role, Luke.
Why is that fucking dog being held like that?
Rod looks like he can still fight, though, right?
Just pointing at Sydney's.
Luke, that's Christy Martin. Luke, okay.
Oh, yeah, right. That's Christy Martin?
Yeah, I thought you'd catch that. All right.
I didn't even recognize her. Holy shit.
Yeah, thank you very much right there. Luke, we know you love to read, so how about this for a Christmas idea?
How to fart into your hand and release it into someone's nose.
It's easy reading there, Luke. Also, I know you're always talking shit about Zuck, but Luke, he will kick your ass, according to Dana.
By the way, too, people talk shit about Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's actually a great athlete. He trains and MMA, he surfs, he does all this shit. You know, everybody. Zuckerberg will beat the shit out of you. Okay? Everybody thinks he's some computer nerd. Mark Zuckerberg will beat the living shit out of you. All these guys that talk stuff about him on the internet.
Luke?
Yeah.
So who would have won?
He'll kick your ass.
Him or Elon? Who would have won?
Yeah, listen, Elon is much older and
No, he wouldn't. I'd beat that motherfucker within an inch of his life.
Would you put him in a submission hold?
I would fuck him up 6 ways to Sunday.
I mean,
I put my life.
He took
on that.
Poetan down.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. All right, Luke, it's time to play Rate That Tat 1 to 10. 10 being awesome. They call this one the face-to-face tat.
Well, that's the worst tattoo I've ever seen. I mean,
It's kind of well done, right?
why would you do that to your fucking face?
Don't know. What are you going to give?
You move closer to the mic.
What do you give that? A 4?
That's a -8.
Okay. All right. Let's go to this leg tat, Luke. There's a lot of detail on this. How would you rate that 1 to 10?
You know what? It's actually a great tattoo. That's an 8. That's an 8.5.
Okay. And also, Luke, check out this tip back tat.
Wow, man. Can you imagine going to the tattoo place and being like, I need this fucking bullshit?
Yeah.
Little Sistine Chapel kind of. I mean, that's a 5. You know.
All right, Luke. It's crazy out there on the streets these days. So you got to be careful who you flip off. You know, you don't want to press people's
Believe me,
buttons.
I know.
You don't want to show Dagestan people pictures of Ali and kissing on AI. You know.
Warning: driver may be jerking off.
Very possible.
That is a real problem.
And Luke, here's your shuttle driver today.
Your shuttle bus driver is hung.
Look at the unit on that guy.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not sure how helpful that is in getting from point A to point B, but good to know.
The Bud Crawford World Tour saw Real getting real with him and Usyk. Listen in.
Stop. I'm too Khabib.
I'd love to hang out with those two. Can we just talk about bitches and boxing? You know?
They clearly have an admiration for each other.
Absolutely. Raw Dog Royval hit the podcast scene and was asked about a potential fight at the White House.
You want to fight at the White House? I'm sure every fighter wants that, or maybe not. Maybe there's some.
No, I don't give a shit about fighting at the White House. I want to fight in front of big crowds, bro. It's like, how big can the White House even like have of a stadium? That's like, is that shit outside too? It's like.
I'm pretty sure it's only going to be like invited people, so it's not going to be like true MMA fans.
Yeah, bro. I don't give a fuck about any of our political figures right now, and it's like to fight in front of them just seems like some Hunger Games type of or like I don't give a to fight in front of a bunch of billionaires and rich people that can give a shit less about me and probably throwing parlays. It's like fuck you guys. I want to fight in front of people that are Raw Dog fans, are fans of MMA, and like you know that are like that could relate to me. It's like I'm not trying to fight these like you know all these politicians. So in my opinion, like I don't.
Look, that was Hot Chips podcast,
dude. That went viral as shit. Have you noticed that?
I have.
All the political websites picked it up.
Is he the hero we need, Luke?
People are trying to make it. There's a little bit of an undertone to politicization of it, but what I'm going to point out is,
and I don't mean a hero we need on which side. I just mean like, should the White House even be a part of it?
Well, this is what I'm saying. His request was, I want to fight in front of real fans.
Yeah,
seems pretty fair to me.
That is fair. No. Luke, playing competitive sports is very dangerous these days, so watch your kids. Let's first go to the soccer field. Check out this indoor soccer trick shot attempt by this guy. Pretty cool, right? Yeah.
What a stupid ass sport.
Oh, yes.
I like soccer, but fuck that shit.
What about football, Luke? Check out this touchdown celebration.
So that's the Ronaldo celebration. Oh, that's the Ronaldo celebration.
Yeah, he'll never walk again.
See
after
you.
that.
See you.
Let's go to Maryland basketball. Here's Pharrell Payne. Payne being the operative word here, Luke. This is not AI, by the way. Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus, titty fucking Christ.
Wow.
What
Okay,
was
I
that?
don't accept that kind of talk. You can hear that talk. There's the door. You can get out with
Are
that
you going to jump me?
bullshit.
Dylan Dennis
Yes,
style?
I am actually. It's justified. Also, let's listen in on this referee.
And that sportsmanlike conduct, number 88 on the defense, has been disqualified.
Tough call there on 88, Luke. Oh, wow. That'll be another flag, okay? Wow. That's
That was the guy he just threw out?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that is fucked up, man.
All right.
You got any divorce proceedings to show us, too?
No,
just,
but it is
just pure sadness.
This is a crazy week in politics, Luke. Let's make red hats great again. What do you think? Mafa? I'm sorry, Maha? Marha? There you go. Also, let's close with this. Luke, imagine if your best friend had gone into a coma in 1998.
Okay.
And you're just
the year I graduated high school.
And you're just waking that person up now.
Oh, my God.
People are still talking about Bill Clinton and that blowjob? Who? Huh. Hey, we're at the Twin Towers.
I mean, it'd be an eye-opening thing to come out of thawing right now, right? I mean, the world has changed so much. It's just, it's tremendous. That's all the shit I can handle.
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad. All right.
I give it a
Thank
C+.
you. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope we're still employed. Long Island Luke, do you want to say goodbye at all to these people? Where are we finally going to, because I talked to Jose Youngs this weekend. Shout out to him, Mike Bone, Oscar Wilde. I saw all the old friends. Aaron Bronstetter, by the way, was wearing a suit that had like pants with a drawstring. The guy's brilliant.
I have to shit so bad.
Okay. Can we check out the Main Card Minutes Prop Quiz Championship of Season 2 anytime soon?
Yes. So Jose versus Ben should be airing Friday. I'll reconfirm Friday. You know, schedules aligned. But we are planning to do that this week, so that'll go down. Winner of that will face UBC. Once again, reminder, 2-year anniversary of the channel today, so big day, you know.
Congratulations on that one right there. Reach the show at morningkombat@gmail.com. One more reminder as well for the merch. Let's go to morningkombat.shop right now. We have November exclusives. They're available until they're gone. Why don't you get a Combat Buddies t-shirt? Get the autograph poster there. Average Joe Art does a fantastic job. Our signatures, it's a thing. It's a joy to behold. It could be on your wall forever. Mix and match colors. We have evergreen items. Just in time for the holiday season, it's morningkombat.shop. Luke, you're definitely about to pinch a loaf, as they used to say.
Oh, my God. I haven't heard that in so long.
God, that's so gross.
That's a 90s thing.
That is a 90s thing.
Got to get the old turd cutter going.
Yeah, yeah. That's all we can handle today. For LT, I'm BC. LT, you have to sell anything to anyone?
I'll have a breakdown from some fights on my personal channel during the course of the week.
All right. Like us, subscribe to us, follow us, be us one day after you kill us. Thank you so much. This has been Morning Kombat. We're out of here.